trying something. See if it works. I'm not sure if the new name of this is going to be Submarines Are Not Real just from the beginning. So we're going to try a different title and see what happens. And if it doesn't work like I want it to, well, I'm kind of a selfish brat like that. So if I don't get my way, I'm going to take issue with it and change things up. 'Cause that's how I roll. Oh, so what's everybody doing? Did you guys watch the propaganda show last night? I gotta say, like, I'm almost to the point where I can't watch the UFC anymore. I mean, it's so much bullshit propaganda. It's just insane to me to think that every single one of the fighters, you know, everybody is like pro-Trump. None of them aren't. Like, how does that even work? And the Joe Rogan, interestingly, when Trump walks up to the guys, they got to take their headsets off so what Trump says can't be heard. And then you have John Jones winning the fight and talking about Jesus and how he's a Christian, this and that, and dude, you just won a fight. Like the insanity of that. It never ceases to him. John Jones is one of those guys who, man, would I love to have a conversation with that guy, because he's seemingly intelligent, but he's an idiot. You Christians are just the dumbest people. And that's really the truth, right? Like when you go ahead and you compare the three, you say Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. When you look at who the dumbest ones are, Christians clearly take the cake. It's not even a question. Islam, the Muslims are stupid, no doubt about it. What they believe in is stupid, and they're everything about just stupid, just disappointingly, just unbearably, unbelievably stupid. But when it comes to just flat out, like, you don't make sense, you're an idiot, the Christians are unrivaled. And one of the main reasons is the foundation of their beliefs. The fact that, one, more than likely anybody that claims to be a Christian or whatever doesn't know shit about the Bible. They barely even know the stuff that they use to justify their bigotry. Hello, everybody. We're finally allowed to get through. Are we going to the Philippines and shit? Is that where this is getting broadcast? Polynesia. But I'm looking for that goofy doggy. Hi, goofy doggy. I see this everywhere with the religions. And like I was saying, the Christians are the dumbest just because, like, when you lay out Christianity, right? First of all, they don't understand that Christianity is Jewish. It's Jewish. It comes from Second Temple Judaism. It's a Jewish control scheme, 100%. There's, like, even the historical record basically tells you that. Like, they're not going to flat out tell you, so then you'd be insulted and you wouldn't want to believe it. But if you look at the history of it and where it all comes, it's Judaism. And the Christians are the ones, like, Muslims don't think that the Jews are God's chosen people and shit. Muslims think Muslims are. Jews don't think Christians or Muslims are God's chosen people. Jews think Jews are God's chosen people. Christians are the ones that think a completely different religion, a religion that looks down on Christianity, is Christian God's chosen favorite person. My best friend cheated on me with my BSF. I don't know what BSF is. Sorry. I mean, good, actually. You know, if someone cheats on you, good. Good. Hopefully it's before you've invested entire lives in them. Hopefully it's before you wasted so much time on them. But Trump's cabinet. Oh, Jesus. This was just insane. So isn't it interesting how Bobby can look exactly what I was talking about? Look at all of these Jews. Elon Musk is appointed. Jews, 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 Jews. God, these people are just insane. Yes. I just can't even. The whole narrative is just so insultingly stupid. I can't. Oh, God. You know, it's funny, too, because I struggle with this, right? Yeah, you. Oh, you're asking him. I struggle with this a lot. I'm watching UFC last night, and I see all these Trumpanzees. You know, he comes, and everybody's screaming, "Yeah!" Like, I don't know. I don't understand that feeling. I'd like to know that feeling. I'd like to know what it feels like to be a part of the group like that. Like, I feel like I'm an alien, you know, because I look at that and I just think, God, I wish I could feel that joy that these idiots feel, thinking that this guy is going to, you know, that he's gonna this guy who is a, you know, best buddies with Epstein and shit, that he's gonna make a difference. The guy that lost the 2016 election by 2.7 million votes, and the swamp he was going to drain put him in anyway. You're not alone. I know I'm out of place. Yeah, it feels like it, doesn't it? And you've got a Texas. You're Texas 39. That, like, you definitely have to feel out of place if you don't support Trump and you're from Texas. Boy, that's got to be weird, huh? But I look at this and I just think, like I wish I could just be stupid. Why do I have to be this person? Why do I have to see all the Jewish control bullshit? You know? Why do I see John Bones Jones talking about how what a Christian he is and Jesus loves you and all that after he wins a fight where he beat up another person? Are we just, how does this even happen? How is this our lives? How is this, you know, there is a fucking genocide taking place right now. And everybody is cheering Trump. And I just like I said, I wish I could feel that. I wish I could know that sort of belonging. Submarines are not real. No, I don't think so. Not the submarines you think. Not the ones that can hunt for Red October and swim all around underwater. I think they have boats that can go just below the surface, but I don't think they have much more than that. They took out my ancestors already. Are you Native American, I assume? I don't know. I mean, the thing is, you know, like if I say I don't believe in the Native American genocide, you know who gets madder at me than anybody? Native Americans. If I say I don't believe in black African slavery, you know who gets mad at me more than anybody else? Blacks. And it's like, don't you understand how brainwashed you've been? We're all supposed to believe that this small group of white people with God in their hearts, like they were able to just take over an entire place where people already lived and they killed everybody and they just did all, like, we just believe that? You know? I mean, at the end of the day, you only know what you're allowed to know. And it's that knowledge. Like, I want to be a part of that. I want to be the Joe Rogan that, like, you look at them all, they're all in good. Obviously, they're given some sort of stimulant. And Dana White and Joe Rogan and, the whole crew, these, all of them. Everybody's in good shape. They all have millions and millions of dollars. They get listened to. It's all that. God, I wish I was a part of that. I hate being this guy. I hate seeing the fucking truth. But you know what? My kid was going to bed last night and was rubbing his back as I do every night before he falls asleep. And I was kind of going through it and I was telling him, I just don't know what to do. And he said, you can't change who you are, Dad. People do listen, not everybody, but there are lots of people who look up to you and listen to what you say. And, you got to say it because it's the right thing. And I said to him, yeah, but I want you to have a better life. And he goes, I love my life, Dad. I'm happy. And it just hit me like, okay, like I might not think I'm good enough to be his hero, but I think I'm kind of his hero. And I'm his hero because he knows I stand up for the right thing. I don't just do it because it's popular. I don't just do it because I want all the like the people that'll say things like, oh, you just want attention. If I just wanted attention, I'd sell you guys Jesus. I'd be up here pushing Jesus every day, and with my oratory abilities and my songwriting abilities and all these, I would have a huge, huge, Joel Osteen type following if I could push Jesus. If I could just lie. If it was just about attention, I could get all the attention I would ever want pushing Jesus. But what is this stupid moral code that I have? How do I have this? For what? What good does it do me? I'm the guy that helps people. If you're broken down on the side of the road, I'm the stupid ass that'll help you. Stephen F. Austin Massacre, and they have a huge damn statue in my town. So this is one of those situations where, well, especially with Trump coming back into office, that statue will probably get taken down at some point. And when it does, white people all over the country will act like we're taking a statue down of their grandfather. The irony, the disgusting nature, disgusting idea that people of color have their tax dollars taken from them to pay for statues that glorify racists. Like, I always say this, like, I would say, imagine if it was the other way around. Imagine if black people had a statue like that or something like that. But the fact that you have to imagine it is what says everything. Because it doesn't exist. That's how you know how ridiculous it is. Because it doesn't exist in the reverse. It's only the one way. It says Father of Texas. What the fuck? The thing is, though, I don't know your name, but 3-9. The thing, all of our history, everything that we're taught is just Chat GPT, just bullshit. That's the problem, is most of us don't understand that. I challenge you, man. I challenge you to find the Brooklyn Bridge, any of these old buildings, just try to prove what you're supposed to believe. That was the whole thing with submarines. Trying to prove that submarines exist was next to impossible. And I wasn't expecting that. Do you understand like how much risk, how stupid it is for me to say something like that, knowing that nobody else is questioning the legitimacy of submarines, and the only information I'm going to get is from the pro submarines exist narrative that supplies all of the video, the YouTube videos, the Google, all of that is pro submarine. So me saying they don't exist and then diving into it, I should have failed. I should have failed, and I didn't. And the fact that I didn't fail is scary. Like it's telling. It's interesting. And in doing so, in questioning things as I do, it makes what are portrayed as everyday people really, really angry. You'd think like you'd think if I'm wrong, people are going to see it and be like, oh, what an idiot, and move on. But instead, you get tons and tons of people, profiles at least, that are like mad at me for asking questions. I was in a submarine before. If it's not real, what is it? So, like I was just saying, I'm 15 minutes into this video. There are 13 people here. And yet, it just so happens that one out of those 13, one person that's been on a submarine, they're here. And the average person is going to just see that and believe it because they don't believe that the system is capable of interference and shit for some reason. Are you getting mad at me for asking a question? Yeah, look how mad I am. I appreciate the example. The utter ridiculousness of it, that somebody would just be scrolling on through and happen to see my Sunday morning mass hold. Wait, is that a hashtag? What's that hashtag say? Submarines aren't real. Oh, I got to go put this guy in. Come on. It's stupid. It doesn't even make sense. If I'm talking about Israel, nothing. No Jews. No, nothing. No government people. No, I was in Israel. My grandfather's fighting in Israel. But none of it. None of those people come through. If I'm like, hey, let's talk about religion in general, not a Christian, not a pastor. Every once in a while you'll get some religious wacko that comes through, but they literally know nothing. But let me talk about submarines, and right away there are these random people who are like, hey, I was, dude, you're not supposed to say that. I went to a harbor one time, and they had a submarine there, and I went to that submarine, and I walked all over it. Top secret, super submarine. Yeah, they let me walk on it. They let me crawl down in it. Oh, I didn't go anywhere. It was in the harbor, though. I got to see it. Like, it's shocking. It's shocking. And the thing, most of you have accepted the idea that it exists because of shit like that. Like, do I think that the things that were shown to be that there's not boats out there that we're told are yeah, I've seen those boats. I know there are submersibles. I believe that we've built things that connected to a tube, connected to a source at the top, can probably go pretty deep. But can we make Hunt for Red October submarines that can swim through the water like a dolphin and shit? No. Big, giant, inside could hold 80 school buses. No. That's dumb. But see, this is, like I said, this is the kind of craziness that I experience. Where, there will be people that will come in to say things, but then those people, like, those people that were in subs, they work on subs, they're experts in subs, they're grandfathers, whatever their thing is, they never seem to be able to answer questions other than the nothing information that a Google search will give you. Right? Anybody can do a quick Google search. How do you breathe in a submarine? And then you'll see, well, oxygen candles, electrolysis, and and compressed air tanks. And then you go, oh, okay, cool. Nah. But when you, like, nobody thinks about that. Nobody talks about that. What compressed electrolysis? The electrolysis is my favorite. The oxygen candles are fucking really, weird. The idea of a 600-degree Celsius burning candle creating oxygen in an enclosed submarine just feels stupid to me. But the whole process, the electrolysis process, right? The idea that they're running electrical current through water, which then separates the oxygen from the hydrogen. And then what happens? Well, there's not much. You can't really find much information on that. But you have to believe it's true. And like I say, the people that supposedly know all this stuff about subs and they were in one, they worked on one, they built them, blah, 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 they never know more than just that basic sort of shit. And then they'll talk about, well, I tried to debunk it, or if I did say something, you wouldn't. Like, they have their excuses always ready. They'll type multiple things telling me why they can't tell me something. Instead of just telling me the thing, well, or like how they'll have multiple posts, multiple comments telling me that I am wrong, but not a single one telling me how, why, what is it that makes me wrong? I know you're programmed to think a certain way, and you probably do. But do you even look at why you think the way you do? Does it ever does it ever work? You ever just stop and think about it for a second? How many of the things that you believe are your beliefs? You have in your life experience, whether you've researched it, you've done it, you've gone there, whatever it is, you personally know that thing exists and works the way it does, so that's why you believe in it. How many things exist in your world like that? I would imagine it's very, very few, especially when it comes to anything like outside of your house. As soon as you start talking about government, politics, history, whatever, the narrative that we're given, you literally only know, like, I'd like to say you know what's in your world, but I don't even know. Like, I have 2 kids. I have a wife. I don't know what they do. Like, my kids go to school. My wife has her own life. She does her own things. I don't know what she's doing at all times. I don't know what they're doing at all times. I don't know what they're thinking at all times. I don't even know if they agree with me on the things that I agree with or think. And you know what? It's not even like we can really know it, because you don't just bring all these things. Okay, well, I believe this, and I believe this, and I believe this, and I believe this, and then they're like, okay, well, I don't, and I do. Like, it's just, now see again. So there's the last 2 comments are from trolls that have been here for days now. That again, instead of actually saying anything of merit, which would put me in my place, make me look stupid, like, you'd win. If you come up with things that I can't debunk or anything, then you win, and you look like the winner, and I look like the big dumbass, and you get your way. Anything other than that makes me look like the winner. And anything other than you trying to win and putting you making up stupid nonsense. Oh, there's submarine, right? Because you can't come up with anything else. People have to understand, like, these are the people that go to a restaurant and will sit there and like peel apart their whole meal and start look, and they're like, look, is there a hair in here? Is there a hair in here? Like, they're looking for the problem. They're not looking for how good the meal is, or value or anything like that. Is this all weighed out properly? Does this taste good and is it prepared correct? No. They're looking for something wrong. So if they find something, if it's not cooked to their perfection, if they find an ingredient that doesn't belong, I said no onions and this is an onion in here. Something like that, they're gonna complain. They're everybody's quick to complain, trying to get that free meal. And those are the same people that if they have a wonderful experience, everything works, everything's good, everything's timely and cooked well, they're still only going to tip, 15%. And they're definitely not going to call the manager over. Just tell them, hey, I had a wonderful experience. I got nothing to complain about. I just wanted to tell you, you run a great ship here. They don't do that. Believe me, I know. I worked in restaurants for many years. and people just don't, the internet is a great example of it. People are quick to complain. They're not quick to praise. So when you look at these random profiles, doesn't matter what day. Today it's Sunday morning at 9 in the morning. And they're here. These random people. They're just random people. It's just the algorithms. You don't understand how algorithms work. Just the algorithm is finding random people that just happen to be up and trolling on a Sunday morning that will come here and talk fake shit, right? So again, they're the same people that are looking for the hair, looking for the thing wrong. So if they could complain about something, that's literally their only goal. They're not even there to enjoy, want to complain. They're trying to get the free meal. And I absolutely encourage you to do that. Handing out free meals. You can tell me what's wrong with the meal I've given you. Handing out free meals. But these people want this to be they're so desperate to find something. They're plucking their own hairs, putting it in there. Look, there's a hair. It's like, sir, it's a bright red hair, and nobody with bright red hair works here, and you happen to have bright red hair. Like, that's how desperate these people are. Sir, I saw you pull the rock out of your shoe and put it in your food. What are you talking about? And if these people could approach me or say anything about anything I'm saying or doing wrong, they absolutely would. If I screw up math or I get a date wrong or I slip up and I say something wrong, like yesterday, I was talking about the turtle, maybe it's 2 days ago, talking about the turtle submarine, the Navy's first official submarine in 1775, known as the Turtle. I was calling it the Acorn because it's acorn shaped. And so I was just, making a mistake in saying it was the acorn. And of course, it's the acorn. So they're clearly paying attention. And if I screw something up, they're immediately going to point it out. So ask yourself, why would anybody need to make up bullshit? Why wouldn't you just, I'm sitting here going against the narrative, going against the grain. I'm talking negatively about all the fun little things that you like to believe in. So why don't you just help me understand your point of view? That's all I'm doing. I'm trying to help people understand my point of view. So here, help me understand your point of view. Tell me what I'm getting wrong. To be fair, I asked for onions, and there's onions in it. No onions. Shouldn't it be remade? Didn't you? See, it's funny because thank you for proving the point. You didn't even bother hearing the rest of the statement. Because even if you would have stopped typing, if you wouldn't have immediately started typing, you would have heard the rest of my statement where I say you should. If you find something, you should. I encourage you to. But again, if you say no onions and you go tear your meal apart and you find a small little piece of onion in it, you know, it is what it is. You can choose to be a dick about it and not have any understanding, especially if you're talking about like you're at a little breakfast coney or something. You wanted an omelet and a little piece of onion got in it. That's understandable. And you should complain. If somebody messes up, you absolutely should complain. And that's the point. If there was some sort of screw up, then they would point it out. If you thought I said something wrong or you could catch me up in something, you would. You know, and most people, like, even when they get to the point where they've run out of, they have no options, like my neighbor. My neighbor would end up causing a whole huge bunch of shit is my neighbor claiming the Palestinians attacked the Israelis just. He literally came out of his house to say this to my wife and I while we're sitting on the porch. Nobody asked him for his opinion. Nobody asked him what was up. He just started talking about it. And my wife, who knows who her husband is, was kind of like, that's weird. I've never heard that before. And she looked over at me, who, even though I pick a fight with everybody I can, and I, you know, I don't know how to back things down. I was just sitting there, it's happened before where the guy was running his mouth and I just sort of let it happen. But my wife looks down and goes, wow, that's weird. I haven't heard that. Is that true? And she looks at me, she goes, is that true? Is that true? Because he was saying that the Palestinians had arms shipments coming from Russia or some shit. Russia was shipping arms into the Palestinian territories. But I was like, no, it's not true. and as soon as I say no, it's not true, he gets mad. Oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. And he starts like running his mouth and saying things that don't even sort of fit. And I start trying to talk and you know, like there's this great interview with Eddie Hearn and Jake Paul. And somebody asked Eddie Hearn if Jake is champion is on the level to fight like a Canelo or something. And Canelo and Eddie Hearn's a boxing promoter. And he's like, look, Jake's really, really good, especially considering, you know, how this situation all took place and everything, you know, everything, all the variables, Jake's really, really good. Is he a championship level boxer? No. Will he ever be? Probably not. And as he's just trying to make his point, to which Jake could easily, if it's not true, let him make the point and then debunk it. Jake won't even let him finish because Jake knows what he's saying is true. He you know, this is what we do. What's up, Karen? When people know they're wrong, they start arguing their own narrative, saying crazy shit, you know, exaggerating and, you know, not acknowledging, you know, if it's the opposite or if things like just people will do everything but directly address what you're saying when they know they're wrong. What documentary has a lit of layers? It really doesn't, though. It doesn't have a lot of layers. The Israelis, the extremely supremacist Jewish people, illegally or just, I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. If you were living in an area, especially if you had been living in this area for generations, Like think about it like this. Suddenly, Canada decides that the Upper Peninsula of Michigan is going to be theirs now. And they just start attacking and they start killing the people. But the thing is, they also keep the people isolated so nothing can get to them. But it just go back to the beginning. If Canada just decided that the UP was theirs and started attacking, would the U.S. just be like, well, don't want to fight back now? You know, there's lots of layers. It's bullshit. And then, you know, the layers that we talk about are biblical bullshit. Well, the biblical shit isn't real. There's a separation of church and state for a reason. It's not real. It's not real, and it's easily manipulatable. It's very malleable. That truth is malleable. So it's it's really not not nobody else gets that. I mean, obviously the Vatican is a version of Israel, but it's still like the people around it want it, and everyone's welcome. Israel, its establishment is supposedly, its establishment in Palestine is because of what happened to the Jews in Germany, which didn't even happen. You know, the whole Holocaust myth. It didn't even happen. But thinking that it goes any deeper than that, like, no. The Jews wanted this paradise, this area of the world that's paradise, especially if you can sink endless amounts of money into it. It's paradise. All of you average Americans, when we think of Palestine, we think of like deserts and shit, or we think of the bomb to bits enclaves that we've seen. We don't realize it's fucking paradise there. Perfect temperature all year round, right on the water. Like, it's just paradise. And the Jews wanted paradise. So they created an entire lie and a narrative that started with World War I and the Balfour Declaration, where it just decided that the Jewish people should have their own place. So to think again, it's like, so let's say, you know, there's something happens in California, Southern California, and as payment for that, we have to give. It's not even like, it would be like not even giving the UP to Canada, because Canada already exists. It would be like just the UP now just belongs to a new group of people because some Mexicans, a small group of Mexican, you know, Chinese Mexicans or some shit who believe themselves to be superior based on the book they wrote. They have something horrible happen in Southern California, so everyone in the UP just has to leave their houses, and you know, all that shit is like, it's I mean, it's not even like, it's hard to come up with examples. It's hard to come up with analogies for it because it's so fucking stupid. Oh, it smells good. Yeah, if we waited for God for our human affairs, we'd still be living in huts. If we ever did live in huts, who knows? Who knows what that reality really is? Why do you hate Jewish people so much? A lot of reasons. The main reason is because I believe, you know, we have the means, the technology, and the resources for everybody on this planet to live a good life. Thank you. Good, happy, healthy, safe life. And basically for our society to be in a utopia, but we don't. And we don't because of the Jews that control the narrative. And then there's all the conspiracies that exist. The pedophile Hollywood, pedophile government, just the pedophile religion in general. This is all Jewish. When you look at the Talmud, which is the Jews' true like main book, it's not the Torah, it's the Talmud. The Talmud says Jews can have sex with goyim as long as they are 3 years and 1 day old. Their religious beliefs foster, push pedophilia. And it's crazy. I hate the Jewish people because of their beliefs. Because of their beliefs and what they do based on those beliefs. But I hate all religions. See, this is the part. Like, people just don't understand. Like, they don't give the credit where the credit's due. I hate all religion. All religion's terrible. It's just, when you compare Judaism to Islam or Christianity, the Muslims and the Christians, they want you. They want you to believe what they believe because it will save your soul. And at the end of the day, they want the best for you in their own really fucked up way. And they want to bring you into the fold. They want you to be a part of their group. Hey, brother, hey, this, that, and the other. The Jews want nothing to do with you. They don't want you converting. All they want is your servitude. What would be better for them is if you went Christian instead of Jewish. But you have to be born into that shit. And they they really do. Like, unless you've been on the inside of that situation, you think it's an exaggeration. But my wife, her first husband was a converted Jew. So she saw it from that side, from that position. And we both worked at the Townsend Hotel in Birmingham, which is like the most hoity-toity hotel in Michigan, and like Four Diamond Hotel or whatever. It's a shit hotel, but it has a really prestigious name, and it's in Birmingham where a lot of rich Jews live. And stop it. And those Jews would do their events there, whether it was the bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, whatever dumb shit they wanted to do, even if it's something as stupid as tea parties. But when they would do that, like the idea that they have a crew come in and clean the entire facility to basically clean all of the goyim touch off of everything. And once they've cleaned everything, goyim aren't allowed to touch their shit with our bare hands. If the goyim are going to be serving them or touching their plates or anything, we have to wear gloves. Because just our touch alone is so disgusting to them. And this is a very common everyday practice. This is something that happens all the time. My wife did plenty of those parties when she was working at the Townsend, because she was in the kitchen and on the service staff. They are horrible, horrible people. The way that she said that it would seem like they would almost be extra messy on purpose just because they knew it was more work for the goyim cleanup crew afterward. Instead of throwing stuff away in a garbage, they would just throw it on the floor.
They were awful.
They were just horrible. And it's not like it was isolated. Oh, that must have been one or two bad apples. They got enjoyment out of it. They get enjoyment out of it. I had another friend worked at a dentist's office.
I mean, it was excessive.
Right.
Like, they would have nasty,
all the rich people are like
shit
that. No, they're not.
On their gloves, and then they would grab the handles to our ovens and open them up, and not wipe them off with rags or change their gloves. It was gross.
They're disgusting. They're disgusting people. I had a friend that worked in a dentist's office, and of course, it's a dentist, so he's Jewish. And she wasn't. And she would tell me that the Jewish people that would come in didn't actually pay for their dental work. They would come in and get their dental work done, and then he would bill this Jewish organization, this, say it's the JDL, the Jewish Defense League or whatever. He would bill them, and he would bill them at 3/4 the price or whatever. They would get a huge discount. And so he gets paid, and the Jews get their dental work, and it's all free. Why would that exist? Like, I know plenty of people that really need dental work and can't afford to get it done. These Jews can afford it. Thinking you are chosen is absurd. Exactly. But it's even more absurd to think they are chosen. Like, this is the part that's so crazy to me, that Christians think their Christian God's favorite chosen people are the bad guys in the Bible. The Jews are the bad guys. Abraham is the father of the Jewish people, and Abraham is the main antagonist to Jesus. That the bad guys in the Bible that look down on Christians and think you guys are stupid and think Mary is burning or is boiling, is forever spending eternity in a boiling vat of semen down in hell, and you think those people are your God's chosen people. That shit. I mean, to use the example again, if you got a job at McDonald's, and everything that you read was all about how the Whopper is the best burger in the world, and this is how you make a Whopper, this is the history of Burger King, yada yada yada, wouldn't you start to think that maybe Burger King had a lot more to do with McDonald's than you thought? My wife was a server in a lot of Jewish events. She hated every minute of it. Yep. Every minute of it. It's a good idea. Because not only do they work you to the bone, they play on the stereotype that they're cheap. So they're not going to tip you. They don't go out of their way to disprove the stereotype. We don't want people thinking we're cheap. No, they expect the highest levels of service, and they want to pay the very, very bare minimum. It's the craziest shit, man. It really is. And the thing is, where's all the opposition? Where are the people out there that are going to be like, no, dude, you're wrong? Where are all the I've been in a submarine people when I'm talking about this? Isn't it interesting? All the fucking videos I've made where I've absolutely blatantly called out Judaism, called out Christianity, called out Islam, called out religion in general. I mean, this video is called Sunday Morning Masshole. It's pretty obvious what we're talking about. And if it's not, and you come here to see, it only takes a second to figure it out. So where are all the people that I know about Judaism, I studied Judaism, where are all those people? Where are all the submarine people? It's really interesting how that works, isn't it? I mean, it's strange to me to be so forward and so purposefully abrasive, knowing the situation I'm in, where I'm basically up against anonymity, and people with anonymity grow balls. You know, if people are anonymous and nobody can know who they are, they'll say all kinds of crazy shit. So I come on here and I go, look, I'm going to challenge everything you believe in, everything you're taught, told you have to believe in. I'm going to do that. And if I'm wrong, by all means, please tell me what I'm wrong about so I stop saying it, because I don't like being wrong. That's why I look things up the way I do, because I don't want to be wrong, so I'm going to look it up. I'm gonna look at what I'm supposed to know. I'm going to do the thing that I know most people aren't. I stand against all oppression. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of us, I'm not saying you don't, I'm just saying, a lot of people will say the same thing. And a lot of people honestly believe that about themselves. And then they go, yeah, America. Or they go, yeah, Christianity. Or they go, boo gay people, or something like that. And you go, well, I guess you don't mind oppression in those situations. And they go, oh, I'm not a bigot, I'm not a bigot. I think ultimately nobody really cares. Oh, but they do. I think there are if nobody cared, the system, the Jews, wouldn't go to such great lengths to prevent people like me from reaching the heights I should be at. You know, there wouldn't be censorship if I was just spitting porky pies and it didn't matter what the fuck I said. Then they would just let me say it, and they would let me reach out to as many people as I could, who would, innately, or in turn, they would self-police. They would crush my arguments. In this open forum, people can debunk or crush anything I'm saying. So they would allow me to say my shit. They would allow the system to do what it does and crush whatever argument it is, and then that would be that. I'd be just another one of those truthers that you don't hear about anymore. The Liam X's, the Madison Star Moons, although I don't know if that agent is still operative, but Liam X Mail. That guy was a fucking goofy agent, and he couldn't, even Todd Church has to be, he has to disappear and come back and because they have to reboot it, so to speak. Reboot the program. I've been consistent. And they try everything they can, especially with these dumb fucking troll bots. All saying the same dumb shit, spelling the same things wrong. Not creatively coming up with any, like, it's not only do they avoid actually engaging me in anything that I'm talking about, but the things that they do say are just the stupidest things, and they all repeat it. Like they're saying it for the first time. Oh, schizophrenia. Paranoid schizophrenia. Yep. That's me, the paranoid schizophrenic. I feel alone, like I'm like an outsider, because everyone disagrees with my logic. Well, I mean, like, share, subscribe. I can tell you that. And it would be one thing if people did disagree, right? Because that's not necessarily what happens. People might, people react to your logic. They don't necessarily disagree. Like, the thing that people always have to remember is, if I run up to you on the road and I go, hey, you know what? You have octopus arms, and you have you're 15 feet tall, and you weigh 2,500 pounds. And well, no, don't, well, strike that one. I say you're 15 feet tall, and you have eyeballs all over your face, and your legs are tank treads. You're gonna look at me like, what are you talking about, weirdo? All right, get the fuck out of here. But if I walk up to you and I say, hey, uh, you've been tricked. The Jews have tricked you into believing in a false a false deity, a false big brother character. So you police yourself while never reaching your true potential, and then police your community the same. Like, it's designed to keep us stupid and slaves. You'd be like, what, dude? What do you say about my God? Jesus is real, bro. You're gonna get mad because it's true. You know I'm right. You just can't. You can't be like, no, wait, what do you mean? And then we go back and forth, and you make arguments to support your point. You know you can't do that, so you immediately get mad. Same thing with fat. If I walk up to you and say, hey, I can tell that you're clearly suffering, struggling with weight issues, and I really want to help you live the longest, happiest, healthiest life you can live. How can I help you lose weight? You won't even be able to get that sentence out before that person tries to hit you. Because if even if you come at them from a place of caring, they're still, what do you mean? I'm big and beautiful, motherfucker. Fuck you. And they're gonna start flipping out. Because they know you're right and they can't argue it. If somebody if somebody knows they're right, like if you go up to, say, an accountant and you're like, hey, I want to have a math competition with you. They're not going to be like, fuck you. What the fuck? They're going to be like, all right, let's go. Come on. Because they know they can smash you. They're good at numbers. You know, confidence, it's a beautiful thing. Confidence compared to arrogance. If I made videos every day showing you guys that I 3 hours a day, you guys see me. I set the phone down on the side of the court, and you guys watch me practice basketball for 3 hours a day, every day for 5 years. First of all, you would assume I'm going to get pretty good at it. Secondly, if I say I'm fucking awesome, after this 5 years or whatever, I'm like, you guys have seen me shoot. I can hit everything. I can do all these moves. I can dribble. I'm like, I can take anybody one-on-one. I'm so confident in myself. I'm so good at this. That's not arrogance. That's confidence. I've put in the work. You guys have seen that work. Now, if you're somebody who's been literally watching me sitting on your couch, smoking dope, eating Doritos and shit, and you're like, fuck you, I could beat you. There's no way. No, you're not. You couldn't beat me. I played in high school. That's called arrogance. That's not confidence. That's arrogance. You're a fool if you think you're just going to get off the couch and just beat the guy that plays every day. And these are the things that, like, here's being fact, bro. First time watching, been spot on so far. Even if I'm not, like, if I get something wrong, that shouldn't be the end of a relationship. People should be able to disagree without it turning into, I hate you and we can't. But see, the biggest issue is people not willing to be wrong. Right? Everybody's so arrogant that they think that they can beat everybody else in basketball. And they just can't. Look at my numbers. My numbers are going from 22 down to 12. Then pop, like, what is that? How does that make sense? 10 people all at the same time were like, oh, fuck this guy. All, and it's all a very carefully crafted way of thinking. All of us have seen our entire lives because of the Jewish control mechanism, the Jewish media machine. Every time somebody wins an award, anytime somebody wins an event, 95% of the time you get a John Jones moment like last night where they're talking about, oh, all glory be to God. Thank you so much. God gives me these gifts. Like, it's amazing how, like, Christianity is supposed to be this absence of ego, when in reality, people say the most arrogant shit and hide it behind Christianity. If you're talking about how good you are because God gave you so many more gifts than I guess he gave everybody else, that's some pretty arrogant shit. If you believe the God of the universe that makes the sun go up and down and the earth spin, and first of all, if you believe that the earth spins and you believe in God, you don't really know your Bible that well. But you know, you sorry, I just got distracted. They got provoked and left. What do you think you could be wrong about? What do you think I could be wrong? What do I think I think I could be wrong about anything. I'm open to it. That's the difference between me and everybody else. Do you think I started off this way? Do you think some half black dude who supposedly his family is from the, survived the concentration camps and all that shit? Do you really think some half black concentration camp surviving family, legacy, whatever, dude is going to just start off hating the Jews and questioning religion? And like, how many black dudes black families that aren't religious? Black people are some of the biggest Jesus clowns there are when it comes down to it. Bro, are you still yapping? No, I'm sitting here silent. You just hear me in your head, and it looks like I'm talking, but I'm not yapping. So stupid. This is one of those examples of somebody that can't debunk anything I say, but they're mad. What I say hurts their feelings. They want to believe what they believe, and I'm shaking their core. I'm taking it to them, and they're like, what the fuck? I gotta say something. I gotta say something. This guy's... And they got, but they can't. What can they say? What debunk what I'm saying. Why would you still be here? If you hated me so much, why would this be your 10th time here talking shit? This whole religious narrative, it's crazy to me. You think if you're correct and your Jesus bullshit, Bible bullshit, blah, blah, blah is correct, you shouldn't have such a big problem with somebody like me asking you questions. Why does me not believing what you believe, why does that upset you so much? Why does that literally, like, if you wanna pick a fight real easily, talk about Jesus isn't real. And watch how turn the other cheek Christians will be quick to assault you, to commit crime because you don't believe the same Sky Daddy fairy tale they do. Watch how quickly Muslims will get mad if you talk about there's no such thing as Allah, Muhammad, all that's all nonsense, dude. Come on. These people get mad. That's disrespectful. You're being disrespectful. Really. Really. Because I don't believe in it and I think it's nonsense. That's disrespectful. Why don't you just tell me what I'm getting wrong? If like in your head, I should be foolish. It should be obvious. Why isn't it obvious? You go, oh my gosh, this poor helpless soul. They haven't learned what I've learned. Let me help them understand. And then you engage and you talk and you try to help that person. Why isn't that the way it is?
Because most people don't understand it themselves.
Exactly. They want to believe a narrative because, we've all been programmed that if your kid doesn't believe the same narrative you believe, then you're a failure and the relationships. And so you got to keep your family happy because it's interesting how, we live in this super PC society where, again, you're not allowed to tell somebody, hey, I think you're overweight and I want to help you lose weight. And I want you to live forever. So let me help you. You're not allowed to say shit like that to people. Yet at the same time, if you say, well, I don't believe in God, those people will attack you. They're allowed to say and do whatever because you're the one that's being disrespectful by not believing their thing. If you say that
it's one thing to not believe it, it's another thing to talk shit.
But it wouldn't matter. And the thing is, considering what Christians believe, the things that they say are way worse than anything I ever say. You start talking about me gonna, burn in hell for all of eternity, and you know, you start talking about some pretty crazy shit. And what is the line of talking shit? Where does that usually get drawn? Because a lot of people get really upset if you start pointing out the fact that when it comes to Christianity, not just Catholicism, but Christianity across the board, your shit's full of pedophiles. Full of pedophiles. Why is your God so comically ineffective whenever it comes down to taking real responsibility for shit? Like, God helps people run faster, catch touchdowns, hit home runs, you know, get a promotion, whatever that may be. But never in the history of Goddom has a policeman been driving down the road in a neighborhood when suddenly they're struck by a bolt of God lightning and they stop the car, jump out, run up, and even though they don't have the warrant, they kick the door in and they bust a pedophile ring that otherwise would have gone unnoticed if not for them. I don't know. God just appeared and showed me that this is what I needed to do. I know there wasn't a warrant, but I did what I had to do, and now there's, all these children are safe. Like, that's never ever happened. Look, my hands are even bleeding. Look, I've got stigmata because of it. Never ever fucking happened. Yet, let somebody find somebody else that was lost in the woods, and they're like, "Oh, Jesus came. I saw Jesus, and he told me. He came and told me." Wait, you making sense? Sorry, bro. I thought you were talking about something else, especially Muslim countries, both Christian and Islam. It's all about control mechanism. It's all a Jewish control mechanism. It's again, this is one of those things where if I'm wrong, you shouldn't get upset. You should tell me I'm mistaken and explain it to me. Because from what I've learned, Christianity comes out of Second Temple Judaism, and everything that has to do with it is Jewish. And it's all given to, like, in every Bible, the first book you read is the Old Testament. That's Jew shit. Like, it's just the narrative that we're given is what I know and what I'm talking about. I don't necessarily believe it at all. I just know what I'm supposed to know. Do you? And most people don't understand that like Christianity, Islam, and Judaism are all considered Abrahamic religions, and Abraham is the father of the Jews, aka the main antagonist in the Bible. Even though God's making covenants, like, it's just so stupid. It really is stupid, and most people, they know the good part. They know the good part, and they know the basic bad part, right? They know if they follow the rules of the Jewish people that control things, if they just do what they're told while they're alive, when they die, then the real party starts. They get to go to heaven, and they get to really, they get a taste of that life that they saw down here. Even though, according to their book, none of them are going to heaven, they still overlook all of the horrendous atrocities that take place because of that scared of death promise. They're scared of dying, and everybody is. But this way they can live forever, and not only do they live forever, they get the mansions and shit. Your YOUR mocking God. Let me know how that works out for you. Yeah. See what I mean? Like I'm absolutely mocking the idea of it. I can't mock God because God doesn't exist. That's not real. Like notice how I didn't just get struck down? Because it's not real. See, like, Christians are just so brainwashed, they can't even think decently. Like, you know how many Christians think if I don't believe in God, I must believe in Satan? It's like the biggest Satan worshipers in the world are Christians, and they don't even understand that. The Christians are the ones that talk about the earth is Satan's realm, and Satan has all this power. Satan does like, what are you talking about? How does that even work? We're all God's children, but he allows this disgusting monster to violate people and make them do stupid things. And I mean, I think that the Job story is really one of the best examples of how much bullshit you're willing to believe. You know what? And I think that's what we're going to do today. That sounds like fun. What do you guys think? Belch. Excuse me. But the crazy thing is, it's the same thing with Muslims. Muslims are just as dumb. When given the platform and given the opportunity to tell me what his main... What's up, dude? Grabbing the phone. Why do you believe in Islam? And he said, because the Quran is full of so many miracles. And I said, all right, give me one miracle. And this is his chance to give me the very best miracle he has in the entire Quran. And he says, well, the word male appears 23 times in the Quran, as well as the word female. And men and women have 23 chromosomes, something that people didn't know back then. That's his number one miracle in the Bible, is that man and woman are each mentioned 23 times in the Quran, and that happens to be Michael Jordan's number. I mean, the chromosomes. That was what this guy said. And to me, it's like, that's embarrassing, dude. Come on. That's the best miracle you can come up with, and you don't see a problem with it? And he continued by saying, oh yeah, well, the word day appears 365 times. The word month appears 12 times. The word hour appears 24 times. These are miracles. Isn't that embarrassing? Women supporting Islam is like chicken supporting KFC. Women supporting organized religion is like chicken supporting KFC. See, this is where you must be a white guy, because you just don't understand. They are basically the same belief structure. Let me prove it to you. Ready? You have 1 Timothy 2-11, I believe. 1 Timothy 2:11 says, this is New Testament shit. Let a woman learn in silence with full submission. I permit no woman to teach or to have authority over a man. She is to keep silent. That's your Bible. The thing is, most women they don't even understand. If they're having this conversation, if they're engaging with me in the religious conversation, they clearly don't believe in their Bible, because they're supposed to shut the fuck up. Whether I'm right or wrong, they have no authority over me and they can't teach me. I'm a man. Clearly, they don't support that part of the religion. They don't support that part of their Bible. I think they're cherry picking there. It's one of the reasons why sermons do that thing where they jump all around. It's like how you never hear any Christian ever talking about Matthew 24:34. Why doesn't anybody ever talk about Matthew 24:34? Do you know what Matthew 24:34 is? No, you don't. Matthew 24:34 is just after Revelations, when the whole stories come out and everybody's like freaking out, like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Jesus. Oh, Jesus. When is this shit gonna happen? And Jesus says, Matthew 24:34, verily I say unto you, no one of this generation shall pass until all of these no one of this generation shall die until all of these things have come to pass. So it's basically telling you that Revelations has already happened according to the Bible. Because all of the people in that generation have long been dead. And if you look at the Bible, that's exactly what it is. I always compare the Bible to the Princess Bride, right? Where we, the audience, are watching the Columbo grandfather tell his Fred Savage grandson the story, and then we get to see the movie that's also playing. But we're watching
His depiction.
right, his depiction of it. And if you pay attention to the Bible, there's plenty of things that sort of show you that, like they say we, lots of times they refer to we, and it's clearly a Jewish elder of some sort telling a younger Jew a story that is then that we get to be privy to, like the Princess Bride, right? Does that make sense?
I mean, I don't know the Princess
Yeah,
Bride
you do.
movie very much.
But you know of it though, the
I
one
know
with
of
Andre
it.
the Giant.
Yeah,
You don't
I've
need
seen bits and
to,
pieces.
right? You don't. But just the premise.
Yes.
Fred Savage is sick from school. Grandfather's there to take care of him. Instead of playing video games, Grandpa tells him, you got to check out this book, this story. And they're reading this book, going over the story, but we're seeing the movie take place. And every once in a while, it'll break back to the Fred Savage and the grandfather talking about what's going on in the story. And that's what the Bible is, huh?
I didn't even know that part. I just know the corny.
Right, right, but still, but that's what I mean. Like it breaks back to the grandfather talking to the grandson, and then it ends with it as well. And that's basically what you're seeing, because there are plenty of times where they're like, and we, the Jewish people were blah blah blah, or just shit like that, where you have to pay attention to it. And Matthew 24:34 is another prime example where it's like, so, first of all, the Bible is always funny to me, because it's like, conversations are had with God and Adam, between Adam and Eve, while they're hiding behind the bushes from God, with the 12 and 14-year-old daughters that are planning to rape their father by getting him drunk so they can get pregnant with his male seed in the Sodom and Gomorrah story. They're in a cave. 12 and 14-year-old are planning to get their father drunk, and they're having a conversation. And who wrote that down? Were there invisible little cherubs with their naked little butts and their wings, and they're flying around writing everything down? And then, like, all the conversations that are being held in the world at the time, they were like, it belongs in the Bible. The one about the little girl is talking about how they're going to get their father drunk and rape him. Yeah, that one makes sense. Let's put that in.
Like who wrote that story was like, people are going to dig this.
This is going to make gay people look terrible. For thousands of years, gay people are going to be persecuted because of this idea that God...
A scorned gay lover wrote the Bible.
Well, but the only reason the people were gay is because God made them gay. They weren't gay people. They were just magically made gay, so they could, go after the mob. And that father that the daughters raped, he's such a good father that instead of the rape mob raping these two guys that he just met, that he's housing in his house, he was like, listen, you don't have to rape those guys. You can have my virgin daughters. 12 and 14, here you go, rape mob, take them. And thankfully the rape mob was like, ew, no. We don't want to fuck those two dudes that just showed up out of town. We didn't know were here, but now we do. Like, it's the dumbest fucking awful story in the Bible. It's definitely the worst. But Matthew 24:34 is telling you, like, it's that break when you break from watching the story to the to the grandfather talking that, and Jesus said this to them. back in the day, and then Revelation, Revelations must have happened in between the time when Jesus said that and the person telling the narrative. Because again, everybody died. Everybody that's in that narrative had been dead for who knows how long. I mean, when you start looking into that biblical history, it's pretty goofy. And apparently, up until the Dead Sea Scrolls were found in 46, the earliest known religious texts were from the 900s. Like it's so fucking stupid. But these are all the things that so again, if I'm talking about submarines, I have multiple people that that will come through and tell me that they've been on submarines and their uncle worked for the submarines, and I'm stupid because submarines are real. Hundreds of people, I would say, over the last 2 weeks. Am I to believe that there are more submariners and submarine relatives out there than there are Christians? Doesn't it seem like there'd be more Christians than just about anything else? I mean, how come when I'm talking about the Christian Bible stuff, there's no Christians that come in like the sub people and be like, I studied the Bible for many, many years. I taught. How come no religious pastors, none of those cool guys that are surfing the web, bro, and they got tattoos and they're like, bro, Jesus, bro. How come none of those guys ever come in and try to help me understand? They sure like it when it's a kid doing it. They're always trying to help the kids, aren't they? Well, I got 2 kids. So if you change my mind, you effectively changed their minds. At least, well, you wouldn't. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, I'm too old. Like, you would have to prove it to me. We're talking about, like, some pretty unbelievable nonsense.
Green shimmer.
Right? This isn't like if you're a Christian, I look at Christianity like you look at Islam, like you look at Hindus, like you look at Buddhists, like you look at Native American, like you look at voodoo, like you look at everything else that exists. I look at your thing the same way that you do, probably even more so, like even worse. So it's you have to, like, in all the world, there are more submariners out there than there are people that will talk about Christianity. And Christianity's real. Like, there's nobody proud enough of what they believe to come in here and risk looking foolish to try to show me what I'm talking about. Yet these are the same people that ride around with flags on their cars and crosses on their necks, and they get religious shit tattooed on their bodies. And think about all the things that people do religious wise. And I can't find a conversation. I can't find somebody that will engage me and try to help me understand what I'm saying or what it's about, because they hide behind, well, you're just not going to believe it anyway. Why not? Like I said before, do you think I just started off this way? I mean, there was no point in my life where I ever believed in God. There was a point in my life where I guess I sort of entertained a higher power idea, but at the same time, to me, it always seemed too much like God. Wait, so you don't believe in God? You believe in this energy that connects us all and knows everything? Sounds like you believe in God. But you know, one of my earliest songs is a song called Patriotism, where I talk about not necessarily my support for either candidate. It was actually written during the Bush years, and it was inspired by the video that was going around where Bush came out of Air Force One and the soldier refused to salute him. And my whole thought process was, yes, Bush is a dumbass. They're all dumbasses. But we need to show American unity because those bad guy Muslims and whatever other countries out there that are the bad guys will see that as weakness and capitalize on it. And I just thought that we as a society should be just show more unity. Like, if you don't, even though you might not like him or anything, he won the presidency, so let's support him until we can get a different guy in. But let's show support as Americans. I believe that. I absolutely believe that. And at the same time, I still never understood, like, war and shit like that is always just, that famous picture of the Vietnamese girl running down the street in the middle of the road naked, running like this with her skin falling off. Like, that's war. There's no justification for that shit. Like, it's just it's I don't understand why anybody would believe that stuff without proof. Religion is such obvious bullshit. And the idea that religion is the absence of arrogance is not true. Or the absence of ego. Ego is a good thing. You should absolutely have a strong, strong ego that's rooted in confidence, which comes from truth. The more you know, the better you are at the thing you're talking about, the more confidence you have. That's not arrogance. Arrogance is when I bring up the 1976 swine flu vaccination program and you act like you know more about it than I do. When you barely even know it exists. If you even know it existed, depending on how old you are, it's not like you just looked into that shit. Like, over the history of the submarine thing, multiple people would come in and act as though they had just done a report on submarines, and I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm literally reading reading the information, the narrative that if you were doing a report, you would be using this, you'd be sourcing this, you'd be using this as your information. I'm reading it. I'm going through the history of submarines. And these people are arrogantly like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's just, it's crazy. It's crazy how arrogantly, like, I call it insecure arrogance, how much insecure arrogance we have. People act all arrogant and tough guy and foolish because they don't know, and because we've never been taught that it's okay to not know things. You have to know stuff. Like, you have to know how life was created, right? You have two options. You get to pick one. But you, this dumb little goyim on the earth, you have to know that, because you do know that. I know this. I know that it's one of two. It's either the Big Bang or it's Jesus. I know that. Like, the arrogance that we all inherently have. We're Americans. My parents and their parents, my grandparents, had sex here. And because they had sex here, I am better than. I'm an American. Of course, as Americans, well, I'm from Michigan. So my football team is better than your football team from Kansas City. Yeah. Oh, you have those colors on? Well, I have these colors on. We're gonna fight. I'm gonna yell at you. We're gonna fight. We're gonna lose our minds over this shit. Why? Because we've been taught to do that our entire lives. You know, when you go to high school, you go to middle school, whatever, the pep rallies. We're gonna beat the crap out of Canada. Yeah. We're gonna get them. And the whole school is all pep rally. Our school is better than that school. Us versus them. Us versus them. They love pushing that us versus them mentality on us. Similar to those on the lunar surface. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's similar to those on the lunar surface. He was talking about the conditions that the asparagus are grown in are similar to those on the lunar surface. So eventually we may be growing asparagus on the moon. That's what he's implying. Like, believe me, when it comes to space, when it comes to all the like, I used to hate the whole flat earth thing. I hated it. If you said anything about flat earth, I'd be like, or whatever, I'd be like, what? You believe something that the people that believe the earth was flat wrote? You believe the Bible? People that wrote the Bible believe the earth was flat. Like, I used to, and the thing is I stayed away from it because I always thought, it's interesting to me how Christians aren't embracing the flat earth narrative more than anybody else, considering that's literally the first thing their God does. The very first thing their God does after he turns on the light, because he doesn't make the sun and the moon until 4 days in. So I don't even know how that works. How do you have 4 days if there's no sun or moon to have those days with? Just a question. But God turns on the light, and then first thing he does is he makes the indestructible firmament, the dome, the thing that separates the waters of heaven from the earth down below.
Can be an outer sphere around the ball Earth. Why does it have to have a flat bottom?
Well, it
can still be an outer sphere.
The earth is there multiple times. The four corners of the earth are mentioned, and the thing that like more than anything, why didn't God, Jesus, whoever, say, oh, by the way, you're on this giant ball flying around the sun? It's not that the sun goes around.
You didn't need to know that.
Oh, right. That's a convenient alibi.
Need to know basis.
Right.
You do not have clearance.
That's one of those big things to me. Why would the Bible make it seem like we live in some sort of domed structure that has four corners and is basically flat? Why wouldn't they say, like, that seems like an important sort of thing? By the way, I know there's a lot of people out there that believe in the zodiacs and stuff like that, all that false idol worship, which is funny. Again, all you Christians out there, you love your horoscopes and shit, don't you? That's voodoo. Ooh, that's voodoo. But they
I'm gonna go to a psychic fair.
Right,
I'm
really.
gonna get my tarot cards read.
Right, really. You're going to hell there, buddy. Hope you like hell. I don't remember what I was saying.
Hold on, it'll come.
This is funny. It's just funny how. But see, to me, like,
You turned on you started with you created the firmament, and
well, like, just the whole thing is that, like, if it was round, he would say, hey, you know how there's all those horoscopes and shit? Well, that shit's not true. It's actually round. We're flying around. Like, there's a lot that, why wouldn't he say it?
I mean, he doesn't talk like that in the Bible at all. It's not an instruction manual. He's not
Yes,
giving
it
us.
is. It's an
I mean,
instruction manual for life,
that's what
supposedly.
they say to us. But if you anything I've read, there's no instruction manual for anything. There's consequences if you do shit that he doesn't like. But it's not like
Jesus,
you
the
know.
whole thing Jesus says is just whiny nonsense. If you read all of the red parts, it's all just whiny fucking weird nonsense. Rambling fool. So instead of helping this rambling fool understand what they're getting wrong or whatever, you just want to come in and throw some shade. Should be more like you. I just like the thing about religion. See, this is again. So you sort of downplay it, but the thing about religion is we're talking about something that has dominated society forever and continues to, and is used as an excuse for genocide right now, right? So when we're talking about something that has all of this power, that gets all of these concessions, given this tax-free status and the land and the ability to violate children without getting in trouble for it, and all of these horrible, horrible things, this thing should provide, like, it's making really extraordinary claims. The whole concept of God and Jesus and God making Mary pregnant and Joseph staying with her. And just the whole Bible story is just, it's bullshit. Like, it's a whole bunch of bullshit. And instead of it there being all of this evidence to back up, to prove that we should be giving you guys all of this. You should absolutely be able to make as much money as you do while not paying any taxes on it, while the rest of us do, which then those tax dollars go into upkeep and all that shit for the church. Like, the church gets the double triple dip. You're making the extraordinary claim by saying the whole thing is real, again, the virgin, all that shit. You should have proof. I'm not the one that has to prove that your shit isn't real, because how do you do that? I love this analogy, but like I say, man, I have faith that there's a leprechaun doing a little Irish jig standing in my hand right now. You see it, don't you, sweetheart?
Mm-hmm.
You have faith that it's there, right?
Oh yeah.
This is our Gaianistic beliefs. And we have faith in that. And you better respect that, because if you don't believe that, that's disrespectful. And if you say you can't see that, and because you can't see it, well, you don't have the faith. And if you don't have faith, again, that's disrespectful. I deserve tax-free status because Gaianism tells me that the leprechaun in my hand says so. Who are you to tell me that's not real? I have faith in it, don't you, sweetheart?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other things that you have faith the leprechaun says it's okay? Like, you can do really horrible shit according to faith. So maybe we can steal. Should we be allowed to steal? I don't want to steal, though. I don't want to steal from people.
No.
No. So what could we do? You know what we could do? We could be really naughty. We could let our lawns grow. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Wouldn't that be diabolical?
Man.
Oh my God.
Now you're.
Oh shit. So yeah, because of Gaianism and the leprechaun likes to dance in the lawn. That's the thing. Our religious deity lives in the tall grasses of the front yard. So if you cut your lawn, you're destroying its house. So yeah, part of that is we can no longer get tickets, and if you do, you're oppressing my religious beliefs, because I have faith in Billy the Leprechaun. Do you not see Billy the Leprechaun? He used to be known by William. No, because William and Billy would go together, even though, no. Like how Jesus used to be Yahweh. So he's Billy the the leprechaun now, but he used to be known by Inkle Bockle Pickle Porker. And that just became Billy. Because we're American. So yeah, right? Come on, guys. Have faith in my beliefs. If you talk bad about that, or if I commit crimes, and then you guys catch me, and say that I'm not allowed to commit those crimes because you're oppressing then that's fucked up. You guys can't do that anymore. Extraordinary claims asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. That's a great line. I like that. Do you hear that?
No.
Extraordinary claims asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. That's juicy. I always say the lack of evidence for something is evidence against it. If your argument has a lack of evidence to prove it, that's the evidence that it's not real. The lack of evidence. I respect people, not delusional ideology. Right. Well, but see, there's a big difference there, right? And people don't understand it. I respect you. I'm not going to hit you. I'm not going to violate you in any sort of way. But I will vehemently disagree with your ideas. And if you take offense to that, well, I know me. Look, I know as a secure, what I believe to be reasonably intelligent person who has taken a lot of effort to educate themselves, I know that there's literally nothing anyone can say that's going to hurt my feelings. Nothing. Especially if you don't agree with me on something. That's not going to hurt my feelings. I might think you're a total piece of shit, like if you support the pedophilia and all that. But, like, you could talk all the shit you want about me, about my wife, about my children, about whatever. We're not even in that conversation, and yet you're going to bring those things up. If somebody starts bringing up shit like that, it's because they're desperate. What you're doing, what you're saying is hurting their feelings. They don't like to be wrong or whatever it may be, but their feelings are hurt. And they want to hurt your feelings just as bad as you hurt theirs. But since they can't actually intelligently debunk anything you're saying, they have to go for the jugular and start talking bad about your personal because we've been taught by movies like Do the Right Thing and hey, somebody steps on your shoe, you better fight that motherfucker. Somebody says, hey, could you turn that music down? We're a restaurant. You better be mad. I'm a mean black guy. You're disrespecting me. We've become this really like it's fucking wild how idiocracy is coming true. If Trump doesn't lean towards the idea of idiocracy, I don't know what does. He's a fucking nutbag. I'm just like, if I'm gonna pray for anything, it's that man has a heart attack before his office. But then we get J.D. Vance.
No.
You understand that is a fucking skull and bonesman?
That is a man that absolutely hates women.
He's supposedly the what do they call him? The hillbilly. I don't. He went to Yale. How many hillbillies go to Yale? Yale, like, your grades and shit doesn't necessarily matter when it comes to schools like Yale. They have all sorts of 4-point students applying for them. You have to pass a lot of the physical requirements and the extracurricular and social requirements, right? And then to also be a skull and bones man, like, it's crazy. Carl Sagan said that. Yeah, but the thing is, all of the Carl Sagan shit, all of this space bullshit, those are extraordinary claims presented without extraordinary evidence. The only evidence that you have is the manufactured pictures that you're shown and the information you're given by people, faraway Jews in weird, lab coats and dressed in funny robes that are supposedly infallible, and you just have to believe it because they say so. There's no questioning allowed. It's crazy. You guys don't even know. It's hard for me because, like I say, I feel like an alien in this world because my wife has an entire group of people that believe the same way she believes. And to me, when I hear them do their thing, they sound like religious people to me. You know, it's literally the same thing. It's just different characters. Their Jesus is a different character. Their God is a different character. Maybe it's split up amongst multiple characters. I like Matt Duhaney, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Duncan. Why? The atheist experience and but Neil deGrasse Tyson is an idiot. He's an actor. We're talking about actors, man. That's the thing is these are we honestly to believe that over all of these years only a couple of scientists have somehow risen to the position of we should look at them. We know who they are. For some reason, I mean, when it comes to Tyson, it's like he's the black guy, right? How many black guys did they have like that who would be willing to play that yo, yo, yo role whenever they wanted him to and shit? It's the problem that that I always run into with people is so many people like they're willing to.
No.
Everybody calls out the things that they don't like, but when it comes to the things they do like, they put the same blinders on that everybody else does. Right, he's a token for sure. They put on those same blinders. And you just don't realize that, like, religion and science are, hand slap, identical. You think that science is more, like, you assume that everything you're told, well, it must have been experimented and done a bunch of times for them to know it exists. For them to tell us it must be provable, it must be like when they tell you that for the first time they detected gravity waves, a star exploded and they detected gravity waves. My question is, how do you build a gravity wave detector when you don't know those exist? It's like simple shit like that most of us don't even. There's a what's that show you watch on Fridays with the Jacques Cousteau kid?
The Jacques Cousteau kid.
Yeah, the Cousteau, Philippe Cousteau. This is whatever his name is.
Well, it's animal science, and in the
But
morning.
yeah, what's that? What's the one show called?
Um,
The one where remember when they went up to the
yeah,
telescope?
yeah. I don't remember the name of that individual show.
So
They all run together.
right. So they go up north to get the best views from the telescope, you got to go up to the north where the air is thinner. So they're up in like northern Canada somewhere where there's 4 foot of snow everywhere and it's consistently snowing. And yet they go into the thing and it's actually a radio telescope. So I don't know if you've ever tried to look through a telescope before or binoculars or whatever, but let's say even a bird or a bug flies in the right spot in front of your lens, it'll throw the whole thing off and it'll get fuzzy for a second and then you got to refocus and all that shit. I'm supposed to believe that a telescope can see through a blizzard? How would that even work? Even if we're talking about a radio telescope, isn't isn't I mean, and the thing that most of us don't get is that all of those telescopes that we think exist, it's not like you look in the telescope and it's like you're looking through a telescope that you have and you're seeing a picture of whatever it is. No, these telescopes, they are an infrared and shit. So it gets fed into a computer, and then the computer generates the image, and usually it's in like Atari graphics and shit for some reason, until the professional artist can get at it and then make the pretty picture that you end up getting. But you're literally not seeing like what you would assume to be as a picture. That's not what is taken by those telescopes. You the goat, laters. Two wings of the same bird, same. Yes, it's. But that's what everything is. We just don't get it. They give us it. Everything is based on two choices. You know, black or white. It's flat Earth or round Earth. It's Big Bang or religion. It's Republican or Democrat, man or woman, And you're just supposed to believe all of this bullshit that it's all lies. Like I say, my wife is an intelligent person. And being an intelligent person, she doesn't just I can't just be like, hey, this is something. She's smart. She's gonna go, you're right. Especially if it goes against what is a standard sort of narrative, like submarines existing. And she's going to, she doesn't just yeah, right, blindly like, oh, whatever you're doing, sweetheart, you're right, that's great, but she doesn't do that shit. And so I love bouncing shit off of her because she's and she's smarter than the average person. And so if it doesn't make sense to her, it's a good gauge of things. So when something like, of course you believe the Brooklyn Bridge is real and was built by us when they say it was in the late 1800s, early 1900s, whatever. Of course you believe that narrative. But you just don't understand that, trying to prove that story to be true. When I show my wife or read the history of the guy who invented the Brooklyn Bridge, she's not, because she's intelligent, but not like the average Christian will just be like, oh, well, I have faith. With her, she's like, well, what the fuck? That doesn't make any sense. Why would it be this way if this was the real thing? And that was the thing with submarines, and that's been sort of this thing that's been happening lately, where the narrative that exists is stupid. They had figured out a system to be able to pull ships that were sawed in half and placed on a railroad car that was pulled over a mountain by donkeys, people with donkeys, and then pulled over and then reassembled and put back in. They had that before they figured out how to build a suspension bridge. And yet you then find drawings of supposedly Aztec shit or whatever, where they had suspension bridges, and you go, well, wait, what's this narrative? Or even with the sub thing. So the guy that invents the nuclear submarine, well, wouldn't you, as a reasonably intelligent human being, think that the guy that invents the nuclear powered submarine would have to be somebody that was knee deep in engineering and nuclear stuff, right? Isn't that right? You would think, but then you read about this Rickover guy, this Jew who converted to Protestant for some reason to hide his Jewness, obviously. But he the longest serving military person ever, and like one of the Navy's highest ranking officials before his death. I mean, he's died now, but he was the sole person in charge of the nuclear program from the 50s until the 80s. So every single person that ever boarded a nuclear sub or had anything to do with the nuclear program came through him. So while he was also being this incredible designer, I guess, he was also handling all the interviews. But you read this guy's story and how he went into the military right at 18. He was sort of stationed in different places and eventually ended up with the rank of admiral, even though he had only ever been in command of a ship as a backup captain for like a month. And yet still he was somehow elevated to admiral. But when you look at like the time when he was supposed to be where he, I guess, got his degree and like he was in 1929 he was stationed in who's it, you know what, I gotta look this up because this shit was really Hyman G. Rickover. It's awful. It's an awful name. Let's see. Focus on education. When he was a child. Okay, so this guy. Let me just read you this guy's shit. BRB. Good. Hope you come back. When he was a child, still living in Russian-occupied Poland, Rickover was not allowed to attend public schools because of his Jewish faith. Of course. Starting at the age of 4, he attended a religious school where the teaching was solely from the Tanakh, i.e. Old Testament in Hebrew. Right. This is the guy that eventually invents the nuclear submarine wasn't allowed to attend public school. Following his former, okay, so right there. Now we just go from where he attended religious school for where the teaching was solely from the Old Testament in Hebrew. Now it goes, following his formal education in the United States. How did we just jump to the United States? Not really sure, but we did. Rickover developed decades-long and outspoken interest in education standards of the U.S. as being a national security issue. Wait. I don't think this is the right one. This is the right part. Nope, it's not. All right, so wait. We have to, early life and education, is that where we have to go? No. Naval career. Yeah, this is it. Rickover's naval career began in 1918 at the Naval Academy. At this time, attending military academies was considered active duty service due in part to World War I. On June 2nd, 1922, remember, he started in 1918 at 18 years old. On June 2nd, 1922, Rickover graduated 107th out of 540 shipmen. Not even a fucking anything special among his class. And was commissioned as an ensign. An ensign is a junior rank of a commissioned officer in the armed forces of some countries, normally in the infantry or navy. So it's a junior officer. He just got commissioned as that. He joined the destroyer La Valette, I guess. The Valet on September 5th, 1922. You have to really pay attention to these dates because they're going to cross over and not make sense here. Rickover impressed his commanding officer with his hard work and efficiency and was made engineer officer on June 21st, 1923. So, in basically a year, he gets made officer, becoming the youngest such officer in the squadron. Man, what a great guy he must have been. He next served on board the battleship Nevada before earning a Master of Science degree in electrical engineering from Columbia University in 1930 by way of a year at the Naval Postgraduate School and further coursework at Columbia. So, the Naval Postgraduate School is in California. So, hang on. At the latter, and then so Columbia is in Columbia University is in New York. So he went like this guy in the 20s is traveling from we got to find that other part because there's another we'll find it. Just wait. Let me just keep reading. At the latter institution, he met Ruth Masters, a graduate student in international law, married a lawyer, whom he married in 1931 after she returned from her doctoral studies at the Sorbonne in Paris. He so between 1930 and 1931, he somehow met this broad, and she went on to be a doctor lawyer. Gotcha. Shortly after marrying, Rickover wrote to his parents on his decision to become an Episcopalian, remaining so for the remainder of his life. I wonder why he did that. Do you like illegal immigrant? I'm a scientist at NASA. I bet you are. Do I like illegal immigrants? Sure. I'm not scared of them at all. I'm much more scared of the white people that are on the white meth heads that are everywhere. And I'm much more terrified of fentanyl than I am anything else, which usually comes from China through the shipping ports and from the north. But you guys don't like talking about that. Rickover had a high regard for the quality of education he received at Columbia, as demonstrated. Who gives a fuck about your speech? Rickover preferred life on smaller ships, and he also knew that young officers in the submarine service were advancing quickly. So he went to Washington and volunteered for submarine duty. His application was turned down due to his age at the time, 29 years. So he's 29. Pay attention to this. So that must have been, if he was 18 in 2018, he must have been 29 in the year 29. Fortunately for Rickover, he encountered his former... Listen to this. Fortunately for Rickover, he encountered his former commanding officer from the Nevada while leaving the building, who interceded successfully on his behalf. He got denied, and on his way out, he ran into his commanding officer who was like, oh shit, well, we'll bend the rules for you. Why not? We don't let 29-year-olds in, but we're going to do that for you. Wait, what are white? You are white, mate. No, not from China, from a legal immigrant. Right. You must be a NASA scientist. So even if I was white, why would that matter? If I'm white, I shouldn't talk bad about white people? Is that how racist and stupid you are? From 1929 to, this is where you got to pay attention. From 1929 to 1933, Rickover qualified for submarine duty and command aboard the submarines S9 and S48. Right? From 1929 to 1930, he was qualified and command of aboard a submarine. Yet in 1930 is when he spent a year at the Naval Postgraduate School in California. and then did post-study work at Columbia University in New York. So this is saying that he was in Washington from 29 to 33 doing his uh, qualification and then command aboard the sub. So how was he doing that in Washington while also spending a year at the California Naval Academy and then and also at the same time, I guess, being in New York studying at Columbia? How do you do all three of those things at one time?
I don't know.
While aboard the S-48, he was addressed a letter of commendation from the Secretary of the Navy for rescuing Augustine Paris from drowning at the submarine base Coco Solo Canal Zone. Oh, he's got one of those super fucking awesome, hero stories too, huh? Because this is a Jew. Remember, this is the Jew who graduated 107th out of 540, and you know how Jews are always known to be these physical specimens. This guy, if you look at his pictures, he's really frail and small, but small-brained activities, yep. Reading is for small-brained people. Trolling on YouTube, that's what the smart guys do. Well, at the office of Inspector... No. Well, at the office of the Inspector of the Naval Material in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1933. So now, from 29 to 33, he was in Washington. In 30, he was in California and New York from 30 and 31. And then in 33, he was also in Pennsylvania. We're talking about the 30s, right? Because, you guys know how awesome travel was back then, right?
Easy.
Easy peasy. Especially going from coast to coast,
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like all those Indians were out there scalping people and stuff. Nope, he's just traveling. Just traveling. In 33, Rickover translated Das Unterseeboot, the submarine, by World War I German Imperial Navy Admiral Hermann Bauer. Rickover's translation became a basic text for the U.S. submarine service. So prior to this guy, there wasn't a single person in the U.S. military, Navy, government, anything that could translate this German book, huh?
Mm-mm.
Not only is he the hero who saved the person from
German
drowning,
is the secret language.
he's also the person that translates the secret language of German. I mean, apparently there were no other Germans here in the United
That
States.
had immigrated now.
Right. What is this? What is this crazy language? It looks like Deutsch. I don't like that. Call it German. Okay, it looks like German. Will Pakistan invade India? Gee, I hope not. He won't even address my comments because everything I typed is true. You haven't typed shit. That's the first thing you typed, you dumbass. Didn't I tell you guys that what will happen is the people will come in here and start saying that exact kind of shit? They'll talk about how they did type it, but I didn't address it. So they're not going to type it again. Anybody that says they're with Trump is just stupid. Just stupid as can be.
You're with hate, racism, sexism,
Stupidity. Flat out stupidity.
stupidity.
You only see top comments. Turn on all comments. Yeah, that's what it is. I don't have. Thanks for telling me how I have my thing set up. On July 17th, 1937, he reported aboard. Okay, so now we're jumping to 37, where he reported aboard the minesweeper Finch at Qingdao, China, and assumed what would be his only ship command, with additional duty as commander, Mine Vision 3 Asiatic Fleet. The Marco Polo Bridge incident had occurred 10 days earlier. Okay. In August, Finch stood out for Shanghai to protect American citizens and interests from the conflict between Chinese and Japanese forces. On September 25th, Rickover was promoted to lieutenant commander, retroactive to July 1st. What does that even mean? How do you what are you promoting somebody to captain retroactively? What the fuck does so that's so he gets paid as captain? Because what's that going to do? Is that going to change history in some sort of way? Uh, in October, his designation as an engineering duty officer became effective, and he was relieved of his 3-month command of Finch at Shanghai on October 5th, 1937. Okay, but he was only promoted to commander September 25th. So literally October 5th is 10 days later. He was only commander for 10 days, but they retroactively made him commander for 3 months? What? I mean, that's literally what it says. Listen, on October 25th, Rickover was promoted to lieutenant commander, retroactive to July 1st. In October, his designation as an engineering duty officer became effective, and he was relieved of his 3-month command of Finch at Shanghai on October 5th, 1937. 10 days later, after being promoted to commander, yet it was retroactive from, they're saying it's a 3-month command because they retroactively promoted him.
Yeah.
But he was only promoted for 10 days. How many non-Jews have this kind of story? Right? Think about this shit. This is the guy that then invents nuclear submarines. Do you not get how just insane that is? Well, it's a good thing this happened. What's a good thing this happened? 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 Like, this is just wild fucking shit, right? This is wild. Rickover was assigned to the Cavite Naval Yard in the Philippines and was transferred shortly thereafter to the Bureau of Engineering in Washington, D.C. Right. Remember, this is China. He's in China. This is the 30s. How long do you think it would take to go from China to the United States in the 30s? I mean, did they have planes going over the ocean by that point? I would assume it would have been on ship, and that's going to take a month or so, right?
They had planes, didn't they?
They had planes. I don't know if they had passenger planes that could fly over the ocean yet. Let's see. Transferred to the Bureau of Engineering in Washington, D.C. Once there, he took up his duties as assistant chief of the electrical section of the Bureau of Engineering on October 15th, 1939. Why would this guy who was promoted to commander of a boat for 10 days, why would he then be the assistant chief of the electrical section of the Bureau of Engineering? Where did his amazing electrical engineering skills, how, where was he showing these off at when he was in these crazy locations, right? He doesn't believe the sun is a product of nuclear fusion. That's how crazy this guy is, right? You believe that because you were up there studying your nuclear fusion with your nuclear fusion kits, and you just know it because it's not because somebody told you to believe it. It's because you know it, right? The clumps clump together, clump together, clump together, and then just lit themselves on nuclear fusion fire in the vacuum of space. That makes so much sense. Uh, I don't understand why you think submarines are. I don't understand why you're here day after day after day, coincidentally. You're not a troll. You're not an agent. You're just some guy who, even on Sunday morning, it doesn't even matter, whatever day it is, Friday, Thursday, whatever, Sunday morning, 10 in the morning, you're already here because you're mad that I'm talking about things that you don't like. That really makes me laugh. What do you think the sun is made out of? Yeah, well, I'm going to sit here and assume I know what the sun is. I love when people think that like you see pictures of the sun or you'll see like that video of the sun. There's like that forever feed of the sun. How the fuck do they have that? What device is just floating out in space, just capturing this feed and sending it to the Earth somehow? Or are you saying we see that from Earth, 93 million miles away, and we just see it? It's just we get this perfect image of this bottom, like it's always just one bottom section. It's never like a whole thing. It's always just a bottom section. I mean, it's just so stupid. It's just so stupid. The things that you're willing to believe. Anytime you see, you know, supposedly pictures of like, remember how a few years back there was that um, collection of pictures that was supposedly from behind the moon as the moon passed between the sun and the earth. You saw this satellite was there and was taking multiple pictures as the moon went by. The earth is supposedly moving around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour. Please tell me how we have some sort of satellite something or other that can not only travel that fast, it's on the outside, it's beyond the moon, and it's flying 67,000 plus miles per hour, yet staying perfectly still over the couple of days worth of time it's necessary for the moon to traverse over this area, supposedly. This satellite's just sitting out there, just flying 67,000 plus miles per hour, just locked into the moon and just keep that. Yep, that makes sense. I believe it. This dude is mentally unstable. Yep, that's what it is. You don't believe the stupid things I believe. You don't just believe that there is shit floating around up in space and, not hitting each other and no mistakes are ever made and you don't believe in the magical God. You don't believe it. You have mental problems. So everybody else is wrong while you and a few thousand weirdos are correct. Yep. Yep. No, you know what it is? All of the people out there that believe that there was a God that came down and impregnated a virgin, and then that husband and wife stayed together because the wife was like, listen, dude, I swear I didn't sleep with anybody. I just got pregnant. It must be God's kid. And Joseph was like, all right, I believe you, but we're going on Maury. Right? Like, do you like the fact that people are willing to die over that shit? All these people who don't know a damn thing about their Bible or fucking how it got there, the religion, anything like that. And yet, what, those millions of people, they're right? You can't possibly trick millions of people into believing things, can you? You need to get help, mate. Go to church. Seriously, this is the best that they can do ever. I'm sitting here like destroying those two things, you know, between church and Trump. You're talking about stupidity on a double whammy type level. And this guy's saying, no, you need that. You need the same brainwashing I have. Don't you see? Didn't you see UFC last night? Didn't you see how happy all the animals were? They were all screaming, yay, yay, because, you know, Trump loves them. Trump's their buddy. All those UFC fans. Yay! Like it's just amazing how stupid people are. Like, sub, share. There you go. Like, sub, and share. You all are losing it. And my Indian, like, this is just stupid. I mean, again, I wish, I wish my opposition made better points. Right? That would be the better thing. Like, if I'm wrong, instead of just spouting off nonsense, and then when I reply to it or address your thing, you just jump to something else. Why don't you address the things that the person is saying? Make me read how I'm wrong about things, and then I look stupid. I just don't understand this.
Your point of view.
Or you can change my point of view. But here we have right on time, a Jew shows up. This dumb Jew that's been here multiple days now, but won't actually address anything. Is just gonna say some more blah blah. Let's see. Huh. This guy always makes me chuckle, and thank God for my life. It could always be worse. I could have whatever deficiency this poor soul has. Instead of saying, hey, dude, you're wrong about this thing, they type that kind of shit because they're the better person. And they've been here for days now. That makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, when you look at how Jews respond to things and how they act, this is very typical. This is what happens when you talk about Israel, and they don't deny anything bad. They don't deny committing genocide. They condemn you for condemning it. Oh, you don't support our genocide? That's anti-Semitism. And then you're dumb enough to fall for it.
No. I'm not being.
Hey, no, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm not anti-Semitic. And I go, all right, then shut up, Goyim. And you go, okay, I'll shut up. Oh, look, he literally says it. Shut up. That's funny. Go to hospital. And like, this guy's just, it's insane. Thank you for proving the point yet again. As always, I always appreciate you being here and proving the point. Because it's just, people won't believe it. You can tell people that are really super conservative or whatever, Jesus, that if I try talking about that kind of stuff, I'm going to get all these crazy weirdos who will just come and try to attack me, but won't actually try to help me understand what I'm getting wrong. They just talk about nonsense. When asked direct questions, they don't answer. They're these fake profiles, and people be like, no way, there's no way. But when you guys come in and provide that, it makes things a lot easier. And take your entire family with you.
Where are we going?
To the hospital. This guy's speaking in capital letters. Is your kids know that you are a goofball? Goofy person. Oh, gosh. Ouch, ooch, each. Can you imagine having that kind of temper tantrum? Seriously, somebody is talking about philosophical shit, reading the history of the submarine, doing, actual adult kind of shit. And instead of coming into the feed and being like, hey man, you know what, I think you might be wrong about this, or blah, 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 they're going, stop it, you're a goofy person, you and your family, I hope you and your family go to hospital. Can you imagine somebody saying something that has you react in that way? Is that something that's possible for you?
No. Nothing.
Like my wife shares her rebuttals to things all the time with me. And I always like when I hear them, I always think like these poor stupid people. Like what are they going to even say? She's like really articulate, and so she uses adult words, and she just says things in a very undeniable kind of way. And what she gets is a similar version of what I get, where people just start having these temper tantrums because they can't say anything else. And they're mad at themselves for believing what she's pointing out.
Well, then they get mad at me because I just keep saying, you obviously didn't take the time to read what I wrote, so please just reread it. And that's all I just keep saying. And they get so mad, and then they pull out different quotes. Nope, nope, that's not where I said that. Try again.
What they make up their own narrative. They will misquote you to make up their own narrative.
And then we'll see. Then other people get frustrated. And they're like, "She said this.
Right.
If you read it, she said."
Right. That's how that works. That's a normal sort of thing.
It's pretty funny.
But what I get isn't anything even close to that, because at least I mean, it is close to that, but it's they're not even attempting to address anything I'm saying. You just have these random people that are just mad, and basically, like, if they had a voice right now, I'd be speaking like this, and they'd be yelling. This guy is literally like he's got his cap locks on. Let's see. Goofy bird, I came back because you are entertaining and high energy, but I don't agree with you. I enjoy trolling. Yeah, you must be a really insecure loser.
I mean,
I don't know what
Sunday
else.
morning. You should be going to breakfast with the girl you were banging last night before you
Right?
send her home.
Or going to your families,
Church.
or doing your own
Yeah, aren't you
thing.
supposed to be in church?
Why aren't you doing your own thing? Like this idea of what I'm gonna do is look for people that are truthers and try to interfere with that feed. These people don't go to like you'll never see these trolls on like a news person's feed, live feed, or like you know any sort of like even like an Alex Jones kind of feed. You're not going to see this same kind of shit there. But for some reason, out of the billions of people in the world and all the things you could be doing, these same few trolls get a lot of enjoyment out of like being the stars of the show here, I guess, and in that I'm saying, look, there are these idiots that do these stupid things, and they're clearly not smart enough to address anything that's being said, and most of them are pedophiles, and
I'm right here, you.
right, and that's what they do. Just they like, no, yeah, he's right. Look, this is what we do. We're stupid. If that's what you do, like if I'm gonna be a troll, I'm actually gonna try to do. If you get enjoyment out of fucking with people and all that, why aren't you going on, different feeds of famous people and asking them why they're not talking about Diddy, or why they're not talking about all the true Jew stuff that goes on in Hollywood? Or, why aren't you trolling your local media person and asking them to talk about the Jew stuff and, you know, talk about the religion and why aren't you trolling the system to try to make it better? Why would you troll the people that are trying to make it better if you're just a regular person who would also benefit from that situation? Like, it's one thing if you're one of these dumb Jews who doesn't want to be, doesn't want us goyim to be on equal level with you, and doesn't want that utopian setting. That I understand. But anybody else, I don't understand. Like, go ahead and tell me what part of we should stop giving Israel $3.8 billion a year and use that to initially form official government pedophile hunter groups, and fund that as much as we need to until we don't need to give it $3.8 billion a year anymore. And then we can use that money for other things. But who thinks giving Israel $3.8 billion a year is better than that? And it's that kind of shit where you just like, why aren't you trolling the other side of that? If it's so much fun, I just don't understand. I can't imagine somebody lighting me up being fun. But if that's what you like, I guess. This ain't no matter. You need some rest. Like, again, this guy would be yelling right now. Who's throwing a tantrum? This flowed in metaverse is absolutely having a tantrum. And your dumb Jew ass always does. I don't think he understands trolls, keeps chats alive, just be tasteful. No, if you were trolling intelligently, that would be amazing. If you guys were picking apart the things that I'm actually saying, I would so enjoy this. I don't mind being wrong. That's how I got here to begin with. I was wrong about the stuff that you guys all believe because I believed a lot of it too. But you know, I beg for it. If you really have this whole exact example I'm talking about, stop being valuable. There's a reason why I don't block you. You're valuable. But you know, stop being that. Make me look stupid. You do a good enough job of that yourself, buddy. You ask questions that I don't ask, buddy. You don't think so, answer? Yeah, I think we can agree that any conversation with you would just be silly. There we go. Dumb Jew comment.
Why are you wasting your time? That's so weird.
I don't get it. If the trolls leave, then he's just yelling at a blank chat and yelling at his cats. Yep. So wouldn't that be funnier? Wouldn't it be funnier to just see some guy yelling at his blood? But wouldn't it be even funnier if you guys destroyed my confidence? If you guys could beat me down emotionally and I went from being this guy to, yeah, well, you know what? I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Holy shit, I guess I was wrong. Oh man, I think I'm going to take a couple days off, guys. I don't know. I got to reassess things. Like, wouldn't that be a better thing if your goal is to be a douche? And at the end of the day, it's not like you guys ever deny the pedophile stuff. So why aren't, if you're going to be a troll, why aren't you trolling the media to give a guy like me a chance to expose pedophiles or to talk about the Jew stuff or whatever it is? Why aren't you using your weird troll fetish shit to at least accomplish something good?
Well, because that's responsibility.
Right. Oh, and read what I said about Gaza. I have no idea what you said about Gaza. I'm not reading. Oh, okay. Blah, 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 blah. No viewers, apartment trolls, enjoy. If you think it's mocking me, I'm cool with that. Like, again, you guys are providing the best example possible. I'm being attacked by Jewish pedophiles. If you think it's anything other than Jewish pedophiles, then you tell me. I think everybody that's on here that identifies as a troll is probably a Jewish pedophile. And if I'm wrong, I'd love to hear it, but I don't want to beat you down emotionally. If you're passionate about something, use your freedom of speech. I am. But I'm asking you, as of this point, you seem to be opposing the guy that wants to cut off Israel and the Jews and wipe out pedophilia. So if you're not that person, then at least engage and let me know what you think is so wrong about the person doing that. What is your motivation to try to interfere and shut down a feed? Because most of you, after you get your ass kicked for a little while, start crying that people should report this video and blah blah. That's usually how that works. So I just don't understand it. Again, if you have the whole troll capacity, which is a level of loser that I can't wrap my head around, But if that's who you are, why not at least do it for something good, like trying to stomp out pedophilia? You know? I just can't. I can't understand. You could get what you want out of it. You'll get that. And wouldn't it be a hell of a lot more fun from a troll perspective to, like, like how Christy Moreno used to sort of flip out and yell and cry and get all that, like, wouldn't that be more fun? And really the only reason I address this shit when I do, the only reason I give it its 10 minutes or whatever, is because I'm sure there are people that are reading comments and whatnot and wondering what's going on. And because I just read the comments as they come, I don't like pre-screen them, so I'm stuck answering shit a lot of the times. But, you know, I don't want people thinking that, oh, these guys are saying something I'm too scared to answer. Just hope I'm trying to point it, because a lot of people won't see it. A lot of people do need to have it pointed out directly to them before they'll see it. Like, look at this. Who is going to do this on this feed of any of them? The guy that's vehemently opposing Israel and pedophiles. Who has a problem with that other than Israeli pedophiles? Everything you guys say that doesn't acknowledge that, like, furthers that. So in the mirror, you seem like a struggling human. See, this is what I mean. Like, thankfully, you guys keep proving that point. If you could say something about what I'm saying, if you could debunk anything I'm saying, you would. Instead, I'm just hurting you. I'm hurting your feelings, and and you probably have a job to do. So you just keep saying stupid things because that's all you can say. And I'm so glad that you provide this example, and I appreciate you. Thank you. I came for the submarine story, mine, staying for the lab. Sure you did. Bro thinks submarines are a government psyop. Who gonna tell him? I mean, again, if they're not, why is it so hard to prove? Why do you think we can't travel through space and we can barely master the skies, but we can't travel through space, but we can travel in the water? People always bring up the idea of physics and say, "You, bro, you don't understand, bro, physics, bro." bro. And I just can't help but think, like, do you guys not understand how heavy water is? All that water pushing you, crushing your. Like, it doesn't even take that much. You dive deep enough in a pool or in a lake or whatever, and your ears start popping, and like it's crazy to think that people just, oh yeah, no, we like swim through that shit. We got magic tubes. They just glide through that shit. It's awesome. They make air. They just make air by running electrical current through water that they've distilled from the seawater, and they run an electrical current through it, and it separates the oxygen molecules from the hydrogen molecules, and the oxygen molecules bubble up, and then they collect it, and then they have hydrogen water. Like, you don't even understand. If you take the oxygen molecules out of the water, which there's only 1 part oxygen to the 2 parts hydrogen, you can't have water anymore. Once the oxygen, once you take out that ingredient, well, then it's not going to be the same thing anymore. At least theoretically, right?
H2 nothing.
H2 no. How did you not catch that one? That was right there. H2 no. I mean, it's so stupid. It's weird because, my wife did well in science. My wife has the science brain, the math brain. I'm supposed to be wrong. And she thinks I'm supposed to be wrong in these things, just like I think I'm supposed to be wrong. But you start looking into it and it's like, wait, what? Wait, the Jew did what? Wait, how was he? He was in Washington, California. It's not like they had the internet back then, guys. It's not like he was taking classes through correspondence and shit. Do you know how long it would take for him to send his paper across the fucking country and then it get graded by the professor and then sent back with, you know. And then here's the professor is not only grading the paper.
God, you're so stubborn.
But he's also writing a long dissertation on like
birds that work their hearts out.
He's writing out. Well, you got this wrong, blah 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 blah. Because again, the going to school through the correspondence that makes so much sense. The pigeons are. I mean, it's like for some reason back then people could do carrier pigeons to transfer U.S. mail. We're not talking about like letters from Billy to Sally. We're talking about like, here's your draft papers or some shit. Like, this is important mail. Here, Spoopy. Take it over to that person in Westerchin. And the bird's like,
for you.
Did you say Westerchin or Westertinchinville? No, just Westertinchin. Okay. I just wanted to make sure because Westertinchinville is that way. And I'm going to fly that way, right? You want me to fly that way? You said it was to Billy? Yeah, okay. Whoo! Off I go. And Billy's like standing out there like, God damn it.
Fucking
Fuck
pigeons.
is this pigeon?
Never fucking on time.
They're supposed to be here.
Bet you he found a broad.
Oh, there it is. I see it. Look at it. And it gets there and he's like, you damn pigeon, you're 15 minutes late. You're supposed to be here a while ago. What the hell? All right, here. Drink up. Take a rest. I've got some shit I gotta send back. I need you to make a stop at the Circle K. On the way there, he wanted me to have you pick up a pack of cigarettes. Hey, do you know how stupid that shit is? I just... That's the problem. Is I'm making jokes, we're making jokes, it sounds silly. Go look it up.
Right. That's why it's so funny because it's true.
Right. What do you guys... It wouldn't work. Like, we wouldn't be sitting here saying these things if it all made sense. I looked up history of submarines. I went into submarines as literally the only guy I've ever heard even say anything about it. Let alone, I'm not going to find any videos about it or anything. My wife absolutely believed 100% in submarines, like the movie Hunt for Red October. Like, she believes that shit. Still kind of does because the programming says she has to. And, it's just, there's no way, blah, blah, it would be too big a secret and blah, all these different things. But then you start to look. And why can't I find video of it? Why does the only video I do see look like somebody let go of a football and it popped up? Like, what you guys don't understand, like, you don't think about it. You guys just think that any old person is made a submarine person. They just like, hey, well, you enlist and you go, okay, I'm going to check this, I'm going to be a submarine guy. And they go, okay, Billy, you check the submarine box, off you go. Of course, you got to have all kinds of top secret, willing to say whatever they want you to say clearance to be able to be put in that situation. And you're put in that situation with the understanding that after you're done playing your role, you're going to get a really great fucking life, great pension. Your kids are going to be happy. Everyone's going to be happy. And if you run your fucking mouth or anybody attached to you starts saying things that only you would know, we kill them. We kill them all. They die in a horrible car crash or Something stupid. And you know that because they show you, yeah, remember, we have all these different examples of us doing that whenever people say stuff. Anytime someone says something, we have a easy campaign that we can run that makes them look crazy. Once they look crazy enough, we pull the trigger and everybody thinks, oh, well, they just executed their whole family and then shot themselves in the head 2 times.
Remember Michael Jackson?
Right.
He complied after we set his fucking hair on fire.
Michael Jackson's story doesn't make any sense. The whole thing just doesn't make any sense, start to finish. It's all fucking weird. Nobody talks about it. You know? It's just the whole... Because again, we're so stupid. We think that like when it comes to shit like Hollywood, you're telling me that the Jewish music machine that existed at the time had a talent scout at a little Ohio church talent show that happened to see the Jacksons, whose father had happened to, make them practice and blah blah. Like, it's not like all of the famous people that you know of. They weren't in vans driving around the country, especially before there was phones and shit. Just think about that. The band has to. Okay, so the band is this Nobody Nothing band, and they're playing in Punkadunka, Minnesota, whatever. And they play the bar scene there, and then what? I mean, even then, they're what? In their hotel room, racking up huge phone bills, calling all these different bars that they've looked up in the yellow pages. And then how are they looking up the bar scene in the next couple towns over or whatever to be able to send, or another state over? We're talking about pre-internet days. So we're saying that these guys were in this van, this poor band that's making next to nothing, whatever, and they're just driving from state to state, somehow booking fucking shows. And like, what are you talking about? How is that possible? And when you look up all the old bands, like you look up the Doors, the Doors history, you watch the movie. Jim Morrison he's the son of the admiral that was in command of the ship that was used in the Gulf of Tonkin false flag. So right there, you already have that. But these are these rich UCLA students that get together, and their practice place is a beach house in Santa Monica or whatever, and wherever it was, beautiful beach house. Oh, Jim's living up on Trick's rooftop. Because, you just live up on a rooftop. Nobody's going to rob you or anything. But they just go from like nothing to they're playing all the biggest bar scene in that little strip. And then, of course, there's these Jew sharks that are there just signing up deals and shit. And they just get a deal, and now they're world famous, the Doors. Fuck yeah. They didn't have to drive around in vans playing all over the country, building their name up. Eminem didn't perform. Like he went to some rap battles apparently. And then came to the Rap Olympics where Dr. Dre was giving his tape. And he just, come on. Like these narratives just they don't. That's not what you think. If you say I'm going to be a musician, the average person is going to say to you, "Okay, well, you're going to have to get out there. You can get yourself a van and get out there and just perform in as many places as you can and just build a name for yourself and build your audience, and then eventually there'll be enough buzz around you that some Jew will come find you and tell you, I'm going to make your dreams come true." That's literally what you're supposed to believe. Or you go to Hollywood and you you sign up for the Jew agencies and or with Jew agents, and you take some pictures, and you have you lay out your chops and whatnot, and you know you're like a trading card. They have you as a trading card, and they look through it and they go, oh, we want this guy for this. And you got to come in and you got to be like, hey, I think I'm good enough, and here, let me do my thing. And they go, next. And you just got to keep doing, like, they just decide. If you're lucky enough, they pluck you out of nothing and they give you the life. Until then, it doesn't really matter what you do. You just got to try. You just got to keep going to it and going to it. And so many more people never, but they go out to Cali, they fail. They're waitresses, they're drug addicts, they're whatever, and they just disappear, or they just become housewives, or or landscapers, or whatever it is. They don't make it because it's so expensive, and it's crazy though.
And they don't know anybody. You
Out
gotta
of
have connections.
out of so many so few people that actually make it in the industry, so many of them just happen to be Jews.
Right.
They just happen to be Jews. Gosh, that's strange, isn't it? Because everybody knows how handsome Jews are. Like it's so obvious what's going on. And then as soon as you look into it and you start I've been talking about doing the history of Hollywood, and I need to start doing that. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow or whatever. But the whole Hollywood narrative is just like, we all will say things like, Hollywood used to be super racist. Hollywood used to be super sexist. Well, Hollywood was never a person. Hollywood is a place. And the people that were super racist, that instead of having black people on their set, they would have white people put blackface on, or in Native Americans, because, suddenly the most profitable thing that you could do, and the most just overmade medium ever, is the Western, promoting this myth of this cowboy that ran around shooting Indians because Indians were just so bad and, fucking psycho savages that needed to be shot. Whoa, 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 and just like, do you understand how crazy that shit is? Why is a submarine an impossible invention in your mind? I think I've given lots of reasons. Everything about it. The fact is, I'm not going to list a bunch of reasons as to why it's not. The reality is, I shouldn't be able to think that way. I have done everything I can to try to prove to myself that they actually exist. And I cannot. Why can't I find any footage of it? It just seems like a simple thing. Why can't I find footage of the submarine? Why does the history of the submarine make so little sense? What are you besides weed? People have recorded video of submarines. That's what you say, right? Isn't that what you think? Isn't that what you thought before I looked for it?
Yeah.
You think there's video of submarines everywhere. The problem is, there's not. There's videos of what you call submarines, what I call boats. But videos of submarines going through the water with a camera on the nose of the sub, or just on the tail on the outside, showing what it looks like traveling underwater, doesn't exist.
No.
And videos of submarines, going down into the water, just it's traveling and it just goes down real easy. No cuts, no edits in the video, nothing. Nope. I've seen lots and lots of videos of boats going down, but the sail part still sticks out. The conning tower still sticks out. And they ride off, usually sitting out on the top of it like a boat. But you would think that would be the case. And the idea that you guys don't question how they breathe in submarines, like that seems stupid to me. That really does seem stupid to me. And when you look up the narrative, like I said, if you look up the narrative, you're going to get the same easy Google answers that anybody can get. It's whether or not you question that narrative. And this is, I believe our system lies to us about everything. So why would I believe submarines exist, especially when there's no fucking footage of it? What about the Ocean Gate situation that happened a year ago? What about it? What do you know about that situation? Were you there? Did you see any of it? Are you a part of it in any way, shape, or form? Or are you just another dumb goyim or Jew who saw it on TV? Who saw a narrative on TV? Like if I show you this, I got this great video. It's actually a really long video and it's done really well. But like you wouldn't believe it, but a guy that looks just like Will Smith is flying Air Force planes and shit because aliens are attacking. And at one point, the alien ship shoots a laser down onto the White House and blows it up. And every time I see that, I like look out the window and shit because I'm like, oh my God, that's happening. It's on my TV, so it must be real. TV doesn't lie, right? TV doesn't lie. Footage doesn't lie. And when I see footage, I know exactly what I'm looking at. The arrogance that people have. There's footage of it, really? Because just yesterday you were looking this shit up? No. You don't think I looked that up in this last 2 weeks? And the problem is, what you guys don't get is every single thing I look up, every single thing I do, it's like I'm one of those people kind of sneaking out of a place and I'm going through a doorway and somebody could be standing behind the doorway and waiting for me to walk by and smack me in the head with a 2x4, right? Like every single thing I look up, I could be spelling my own doom. I could look the thing up and right away it's super easy to see that I'm wrong, I'm stupid, this is obvious. Why would I ever question this? Every single time I could be walking through waiting to get smacked. Clarice, you got to check the corners. Everything I look up, every question I ask, I'm the one that doesn't believe the narrative. You guys do. So you should be just wrecking me. You're essentially the entire existence. Is one big Jewish conspiracy. Yeah. Absolutely. And compared to this notion that it's actually just this chicken with its head cut off running around and everything's just crazy and it's not all one big manipulation. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Jewish conspiracy. Especially when I look at who seems to be benefiting the most from said conspiracy. Who controls it? Do you go let the doctor? No, because then you're going to end up cleaning shit up. Don't do that. The Axer.
I did.
You know? Ask yourself any of these. Why do you believe any of this shit? What evidence do you have for any of this shit? Why don't you have enough respect for yourself to require evidence of things? Like, think about that. Think about how defeated and demeaned you've been that you're just like, oh yeah, I accept what people I don't know tell me because I know that this might be one of those few things that if I say I believe it, people are allowed to make fun of me. If I don't believe the earth is a round ball flying through space, then people are allowed to make fun of me and nobody will stop them. You know? I don't have any rights. Whenever you see somebody that has a sign in their yard that says protect religious freedoms, you can guarantee they're Christian. They're not talking about protecting Muslim freedoms, and they damn sure aren't talking about protecting the freedoms of those who don't fall for any of that bullshit. Did we go to the moon? Mark, do you think if we went, or Max, if you think if we went to the moon in 1969, if we had the capability to go to the moon in 1969 with the 1969 technology, that in 2024 we wouldn't have commercialized that shit by now? Do you honestly believe that? He don't think nuclear radiation is real. He don't think. Boy. I know there's a guy called Galen Windsor who has been basically scrubbed from the history books, and he's basically the father of nuclear, engineering. He's the guy that they sort of claim that this Rickover guy is. Galen Windsor went around in the late 80s doing all sorts of presentations and shit on how it's all a lie, how radiation is all a lie. It can be weaponized, but how nuclear waste and all that shit isn't nearly as harmful as they say. He used to put the shit on his tongue. And he didn't, oh, he died, didn't he? Yeah, he died at an old age, and it wasn't from, like, super progressive tumor cancers that he obviously got from touching all this shit. You can't even find his shit anymore. GAYLEN WINSOR. I wonder if I can find anything on him. Let's see if his shit's been updated at all. GAYLEN not GAY, GALEN. Galen Windsor. Let's see. Is there a wiki? Nope. So it's strange to think this guy isn't allowed to have a wiki.
I shouldn't be long. She said Chelsea went this morning and let them out, but she didn't feed them, so she asked if I could just feed them real quick.
Sure. Hey.
Yeah.
Physicist Galen Windsor eats uranium on live TV in 1985. Excuse me, to show that it's harmless. Here you go. Nope.
Is it radioactive? Yeah, it is. You pour it out in the hand, and that's radioactive contamination. Is it radioactive? Yeah, it is. Very radioactive. Do I qualify as a controlled drain? That material that I just ate is not soluble in body fluids.
There you go. You can look it up all you want. Like I love to hear anybody say, try to fucking say something. Say something. The nuclear scare scam, Galen Windsor. Galen Windsor is a nuclear physicist of renown who worked at and helped design nuclear power plants in Hanford, Washington, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, Morris, Illinois, San Jose, California. Summaries. Wilmington, New Jersey. Among his positions of expertise, he was in charge of measuring and controlling the nuclear fuel inventory and storage. Galen Windsor has traveled and lectured all over America, spoke on national talk radio, and made several videos exposing the misunderstood issues of nuclear radiation. He shows that fear of radiation has been exaggerated to scare people. So, a few powerful people can maintain total control of the world's most valuable power source. Filmed by Ben Williams in 1986. Because it's not real. Right? It's not real. Does the internet use underwater cables or is it something else? I'm sure it does. The internet, the GPS is not satellites. It's the global positioning system. It's not satellites. People think it's system. What's up, Karen? Bro, stop doing narcotics. Gotta love these narcotics. This is why they shut down Alex Jones. He told too much truth. Alex Jones is controlled opposition. Because Alex Jones doesn't talk about Israel. Right? As soon as you understand that the person, like, Alex Jones has a huge feed. The day I start getting to 500,000 views and shit like that, then you can start questioning my legitimacy. While they struggle to keep me at this low number because it just keeps trying to go past it, but they won't, like, share. Don't forget to like, sub, and share because it clearly helps and they clearly hate it. This is the only way we override their algorithm is if you guys do it. You like the video, you sub, and you share. Or you can think it's all, they give it to us for free for nothing. They give us social media for fucking free for nothing. Think about this. A couple of years ago, Facebook had 2.9 billion users worldwide. We'll say 3 billion just for math purposes. If Facebook decided that they were going to say, look, we need to charge everyone $1 per month. We're going to put it on your phone bill so you never even notice it. It's $1. What's that going to matter? $1 per month because we need to build a stronger infrastructure to give you better service, blah, blah, blah. Even though they really just wanted to pocket it, they could literally make $3 billion a month and $36 billion a year. Just that's money that the Facebook executives just give away for nothing. They could easily charge us $5 a month, and most of us, 99% of us, would do it. So now you're talking about $150 billion a year they could make. Literally, they could have a rotating door of executives that split the $150 billion a year extra profit that they make. And they just give everybody here, you want some billions, here's some billion. Everybody gets $1 billion every 150, 100 every year we do 150 new execs, and every year everybody gets $1 billion. They can all just retire and do whatever. They could easily do that. And yet they don't, and they give it to us for free instead. Why do you think they do that? It's because it's the big brother that they always dreamed of. This is Hoover's wettest dream. J. Edgar Hoover's wettest dream is that there was a camera in everybody's house. But this is even better than a camera in everybody's house because social media is where we're like, hey, not only is this what everything we do looks like, how we dress, this is what our houses look like, this is what our families look like, this is what we look like. This is what I believe. This is what I think. This is how I'm going to vote. This is how this is my issues. These are the things that bother me. This is exactly how you can manipulate me. Like we would fight to the fucking death if they try to take it away from us. No, we will pay you. Just keep giving us our Facebooks. Keep giving us our Instagrams and all these other things. Why do you think they give it to us for free, and you don't think they can manipulate the software however the fuck they want to? If they want to put a governor on the amount of people that are allowed to watch you or censor you, you don't think they can do that with the free thing they give us? The fuck out of here. Alex Jones is suing the Onion for purchasing InfoWars. Alex Jones is a goddamn distraction. Why anybody falls for that shit? I mean, I know it. I get it. You know, when you start seeing the holes in the system, you start, you no longer like it. I always think of it like it's raining, like, right? And most people are under the umbrella of religion and politics and belief. They're protected from that rain. Well, some of us are like, yeah, that umbrella doesn't work for us, and we step out. And that truth that's raining down, they still need to protect us from that truth. So the next layer is going to be shit like an Alex Jones. So now that you're starting to ask questions and whatnot, well, we need to control what questions you ask and how you look at things. So we're going to provide you with a guy who says, hey, I know you believe this, right? And you believe that, right? Well, me too. But I also believe this and this and this. And you're like, well, yeah, I guess I didn't know about though. I don't know, but you said this right, so you're probably right about this too. Alex Jones is a rich motherfucker because they let him be. Same thing with Diddy. Everybody's crying about Diddy like Diddy's some like anomaly. The only thing that's the anomaly is that they allowed this black guy, the Jews gave this black guy the career that he had. He wasn't super talented or anything, but he was willing to take the back shots and blow the right dudes and let the right dudes blow him. And so they put him in this position to where he's this mogul. So that when all this sexual assault stuff starts coming up and the Goyim start speaking up a lot and we start, hey, these motherfuckers, what are they doing? Me Too's and all that. They can throw a Diddy. They can throw the black guy under the bus. Diddy did nothing that Jews haven't been doing for decades, the whole time. The entire time Hollywood's existed, the Jews have been doing the same shit. But everybody's concerned about Diddy and Diddy memes and Diddy hashtags and this, that, and the other. You guys know Weinstein, his charges got overturned? Did you know that? He's still facing the other, but his initial charges got overturned by the Jew judge. He didn't have a Jew judge in the first trial, but in the retrial, it was a Jew judge, and the Jew judge overturned it. But shh, focus on Diddy. Focus on Diddy. We're just being manipulated, If this guy has all the answers, why the fuck is he living in a place with those ceiling tiles? Think about it, yep. If I ever tell you I have all the answers, by all means, do that. If I'm telling you that you guys should be listening to me, and I'm not, and I'm saying anything other than, hey, debunk what I'm saying, then you go right ahead and you feel how you want to feel. But I'm not telling anybody to do anything. I'm just bringing shit up. And if I'm wrong, you have all the power in the world to tell me what I'm wrong about. Where can I get this info you have? What info are you talking about? Addicted to our own surveillance. It's controlled opposition. Exactly. There's no way somebody gets to be Alex Jones, the fat fucking paychecks and shit that he's had. Like, somebody paid him. He didn't just exist. He was paid to exist. And you want to get stuck on the Bill Hicks shit? I don't give a fuck. That's dumb. But Alex Jones is a fear mongerer. Alex Jones is a hate mongerer. Alex Jones is a racist. Alex Jones told you to vote for Trump. I mean, he's not the guy saying, come on, guys, stop falling for voting. It's stupid. Trump lost by 2.7 million votes, and the swamp that he was going to drain put him in anyway. Clearly, voting is a scam. Don't fucking fall for it. Alex isn't saying that to you. Alex is telling you to vote for Trump because he's a good guy. Brr. Do you know how stupid that is? Now you got Russell Brand telling people that Jesus is the way. Oh, Jesus is Jesus and Jesus. Shut the fuck up. Are you kidding me? How did you become that guy? I'd love to ask him what the hell happened. What was that change? That it had to be something pretty significant for you to go from being the let's talk about the truth to I'm going to push Jesus now thing. But you'll never get that. You'll never get to talk to these people. You'll never get any of these answers. We're just stuck here sort of watching it because they've convinced us to fight. You know, one of the biggest things is they've got men and women arguing about who's superior and this and that. You know, they have us arguing because they've convinced women that women should be in competition with men. Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. Like it's insanity. Women should not be in any physical competition with men. I mean, unless they want to. It's one thing if they want to. But the delusional mindset. There's some videos online that'll show like the U.S. national team facing off against some retired men. You know, a group of retired players, and the retired players just destroy them like 16-0. They just can't do a damn thing. They've got a couple of Hail Mary attempts that you know don't even come close. But there's literally no competition there. None. Why do we do that? Because we're distracted. It's all about distracting us from the genocide that's taking place right now and the Jews that control the narrative. Literally, all the other things that we talk about, they're distractions. And you know, if I'm wrong, by all means, let me know. But everything is a distraction, and it's designed that way because they don't care. If you're spending your energy and your resources and your thoughts and whatnot talking about Trump versus Kamala, you're definitely not talking about the Jews. You're definitely not talking about the genocide that's taking place. The 42,000, the 43,000, probably 44, 45,000 at this point, people that have been killed since last year, since October 7th of last year. Like, this is an insane situation. This is an insane situation that's never been seen before. Yes, supposedly genocides and whatnot have happened. It's never been broadcast on TV like this is. Not I mean even like they learned their lesson with the Vietnam shit. They don't show us war footage anymore because us goyim aren't like those psycho Jews. Jews think if we show them violence, then they'll want violence. We want violence when we're shown violence. But when we see violence and it's children running down the street with their fucking skin hanging off, we go, stop this shit. Whatever this is, just stop it. None of this shit matters. It's not worth that. And they go, what are you talking about? We got to kill them. We got to kill them. They took our stuff. And we go, no, fuck that. Stop it. Stop killing. So they had to stop showing us that shit. But with this is all over the place. This is a genocide happening just every day, more and more coverage and bragging. They're just bragging about it. And we just, well, it's not us. So it's gotten to the point where I have such a hard time going through any of my feeds because of what I share and I talk about. Well, I'm shown a lot of those videos of children crying, videos of children injured, and only videos that come out showing this is only the Palestinian side. There's no Israeli casualty videos. There's no Israeli injury videos. There's nothing to make you think Israel is justified in what they're doing. And yet, there's plenty of videos to show you what the fuck they're doing. And that's what we're being distracted from. It's all that's it. It's distraction. It's to stop us from talking about these piece of shit motherfuckers that that don't care about us. Where are all the submarine people when it comes to this conversation? All the people that come on here and tell me how their uncle was the submarine guy and blah blah blah. They were on a submarine. They know I don't know what I'm talking about. Blah 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 blah. They're mad because I'm talking about submarines. Yet here I am talking about Jews, Israel, religion, all these things. And I would imagine there's a hell of a lot more religious people and Jews than there are people on submarines. But for some reason, they never come here. They never come here and tell me what I'm wrong about. Why do you think that is? I'm wrong. Should be easy, right? And technically it's dangerous if I'm not wrong and more people start listening and paying attention. Isn't that scary? So why don't you just come in and tell me what I'm wrong about? Once I know I'm wrong, I'll feel stupid saying it. I won't say it again. If you can show me that I'm wrong, I'm not going to say it again. I was wrong about the earth being round. You don't hear me ever saying that shit again. Oh, I think it might be round. Nope. I was wrong. It would take some pretty significant doings to make me believe the earth is round again. You know, it's but I knew I was wrong. Whatever.
Wow, those dogs were hungry. Daisy won't eat anything standing.
I literally rolled it while you were here. I didn't know what you were doing.
I had to go feed them. She texted me and said, shit, Chelsea went and let the dogs out, but she didn't feed them.
Give me a time.
They were hungry because they never go straight.
Look, I guess I'm getting to that point where I'm done because nobody's talking. But oh yeah, I wanted to keep doing this. Galen Windsor, radioactive swimming. Galen Windsor was a safety officer. Galen, in the early days of the American nuclear industry during the 1940s, rules for the handling of radioactive waste were laxer. Galen Windsor was a safety officer at the Hanford nuclear site, the location of the first full-size plutonium-producing reactor. When Hanford's reactors were decommissioned at the end of the Cold War, the site housed 177 storage tanks containing 200,000 M to the third, I don't know what that means, of high-level radioactive waste. Windsor swam in the pool where spent fuel rods were kept, and the water was heated to 38 degrees Celsius. He further claimed to have drunk a glass of the water from the pool every day without ill effects. By contrast, since the 1980s, former workers have been attempting to gain compensation for symptoms caused by alleged exposure to radiation due to lax safety measures at the plant. Maybe it was something else then. You know? Maybe they were just told that's what it was. But, you know, no threshold. It's crazy how the Galen Windsor narrative has been. Let's see. To whom it may concern, pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act, I hereby request the following records. I request an electronic copy of all FBI files on Galen Windsor, a nuclear physicist who worked at and helped design nuclear power plants in Hanford, blah, blah, blah. He was born on June 4th, 1926, and died on June 19th, 2008. So for all of you that think, blah, 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 well, he died. Clearly, he was, 80-something years old when he died? 82? What's 2008 minus 26? 80, yeah, 82, I think. His obituary is here. Let's see. Galen Windsor, June 4th, 1926 to June 19th, 2008. On July 19th, 2008, Galen Hewlett Windsor went peacefully from his mortal life to return to his Father in heaven, there to be reunited with his eternal companion, Ladine Mickelson Windsor, who preceded him in death 15 years earlier. He died after his wife? Wow. That's wild. Born June 4th, 1926, in Peterson, Morgan County, Utah, where he was the third child and first son of Merkins Terry Windsor. Merkins, his name was Merkins. That would suck in today's world. And Eleanor Hewlett. His father died when he was 3 years old. His mother later remarried to Josiah Adair, who was a lifelong friend of Merkins. The family moved to Pioche and then Panaca, Nevada. He graduated from Lincoln County High School in 1944 and joined the Navy that September. He served a tour in the South Pacific and was a radio operator in Guam, where he was wounded by a sniper. After leaving this service, he attended Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah, where he graduated with a degree in chemistry. You see how, like, you compare this guy to the Rickover, to the Jew, right? And it's like the narrative isn't linear and it doesn't make sense. And if you just sort of pay attention, weird dates overlap and times overlap. But, you know, the guy that invented the nuclear submarine went to school for a year. That's amazing. This guy, right? This guy clearly, you know, he there's like a record of his education and shit. There he met Ladane and they were married in Salt Lake Temple of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on October 29th, 1947. There you go. Good old Mormon. They moved to Richland, Washington in August of 1950, where he worked for General Electric at Hanford as a nuclear chemist. That's like, again, there's a following there. You can see how he did this, then he did this, he got this job as this, he worked his way up in this, then he got recruited in this, and like, that's where that works. Whereas Rickover was just, you know, he was promoted to general on September 25th, but it was retroactive to July 9th, and then 10 days later on October 25th, he was relieved of his 3-month command. And it's like that he was command for 10 days. He wasn't a commander for 3 months. Fucking stop it. What are you talking about?
Stop it. Leave alone.
They moved to Richmond. He helped build and run processes involving extracting plutonium. He also served as a missionary in the Northern States Mission during this time. Had to be weird. 4 children were born in Richland: Scott Lane, Gayla, and Todd. Her name was Gayla. It's worse than Guyla. In December 1964, see, again, we have a linear story where you could say, okay, this is 14 years later. So 14 years later, he would have a family. He would have been working at this place for this long of a time, you know, learning his craft and perfecting things. Like, you don't just say, oh, he got it figured out in a year. He went from you know, this, he was in China, then he got moved over here, then he was dancing around here. Do you have something cooking?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, that's mighty white of you. Just want to make sure because I can smell it. Wasn't sure. Usually by the time you can smell it, it's time to inhale it.
It's only been 5 minutes at 200.
Oh. In what? In the thing?
No, on foil.
But in the thing or in the oven?
In the oven.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the oven takes a little longer.
Yeah. Cooks it.
I disagree. Um. Oh, let's see. In December of '64, the family moved to San Jose, California, where Galen was involved in designing a commercial nuclear fuel reprocessing plant. Okay? And you go, okay, wait. Well, why would they pick that guy? He was only a nuclear chemist for a bunch of years. Like, it makes sense that they would pick him to help design the plant. It's not like with Rickover where they're just like, "He's promoted because he worked really hard." 6 months later, he's made an admiral. Galen was active in the church scouting program in both Washington and California in May of '69. He moved to Joliet, Illinois, where the Midwest Fuel Recovery Plant was built. So clearly, this guy is involved in the building and production of multiple nuclear power plants across the United States. Does that not qualify him as an expert in the field?
Mm-hmm.
So after the fact, when he goes around trying to dispel the fear propaganda myth of nuclear power, do you think there's anybody else that's more qualified than he is?
No.
If he was wrong, why wasn't he ever asked to be on a TV show to go against a panel of his peers where they would debunk anything he had to say? Why was he going around successfully making this presentation all over the United States with no opposition whatsoever if he's wrong? Galen was the first bishop of Joliet Ward, Chicago South Stake, and was involved in building a beautiful chapel there. It's crazy to think, like, on one hand, he's this nuclear physicist guy, and on the other hand, he's a fucking psychopath nutjob believing in fucking, Mormon, Latter-day Saint crazy bullshit. Like, that shit is crazy. Those are the guys that are riding around on the bicycles and shit. Those guys are nuts.
Oh my gosh, yesterday I saw two Orthodox Jewish kids. But they were on their little motorized, the skateboard scooter
Right.
thing with the handle. But they had their little outfits with their little bag, cross body bag, and they were going down Inkster Road.
Probably to the Adat Shalom or from it.
I was coming from Corton, so I was probably south of Maple.
Whatever.
But yeah, I don't know. But I didn't think they could ride anything motorized. Or those, I mean, even if they're electric, they're not allowed to ride them.
That was
right?
yesterday?
When I went to the Steph's
Was that yesterday or the day before?
Friday.
Well,
The start of the weekend where they're not allowed to drive a car.
no, it's at sunset on Friday.
It was sunset because I was driving home from her house.
Okay, well, it wasn't officially dark yet. So they were probably getting home just in time. Fucking idiots. You should have stopped them. Hey, what's going on, buddy? Can you tell me about your shit?
It was two boys, maybe 14.
Looking goofy as all fucking hell.
Goofy.
Just why would that be like? At some point throughout history, it was like, hey, that look right there, that's it.
Don't do it.
No,
Just don't do it.
that's the look we're gonna do for eternity. That look, we're gonna look like Quakers, but we're gonna have long little dreidel things on our fucking head. Our sideburns are gonna be long. We're gonna have our goofy yarmulkes on. We're gonna have our ropes hanging down. We're gonna look extremely uncomfortable and hot in our wool clothing in fucking summertime. Ugly as just can fucking be. Inbred is like way inbred looking. For the most part. There's anomalies, don't get me wrong. She hates when I say shit like that. GE then had Galen manage a uranium ore facility in Nucla, Colorado. Galen accepted the job with United Nuclear in October 1978 and moved back to Richmond. He had many jobs and projects that promoted and advocated nuclear energy after retiring. Galen loved fishing, blah blah blah. He lived to He survived by we say so they don't even talk about his work afterhand. You know, his work in trying. That's funny how his obituary leaves out what he would have considered his most important work. But they have the church, the time, all that shit. So it's proof this guy existed. Here is the location of his burial. If any potentially, what he said, please conduct a search of the central record system, including but not limited to the electronic surveillance, indices, microphone surveillance, physical surveillance, technicals, for both main file records and cross-reference records for all relevant names, individuals, agencies, and companies. If any potentially responsive records have been destroyed and or transferred to NARA, N-A-R-A, then I request copies of the destruction or transfer slips as well as any other documentation relating to, mentioning, or describing said transfer or destruction to include but not be limited to confirmation that the Bureau has no other copies of said records. If previously released records are available, then I request a rolling release a rolling release consisting of those records while additional records are located and processed for release. The requested documents will be made available to the general public, and this request is not being made for commercial purposes. In the event there are fees, I would be grateful if you would inform me of the total charges in advance of fulfilling my request. I would prefer the request fulfilled electronically by email attachment if available or CD-ROM if not. Thank you in advance for your anticipated cooperation in this matter. I look forward to receiving your response to this within 20 business days as the statute requires. Sincerely, Bill Gagnon.
He sounds like an ass.
He sounds amazing. No, he's not. He's calling out the government. Okay, so let's see. From Bill, this was on six. Okay, so the first thing was on going. This is from the top. I don't know. This was from 07/24. Uh, the response on 6/20/12/24. There are EFOI files available for you to download. On 6/19/2024, Bill says, I am appealing the Bureau's determination in FOIPA request, blah, blah, concerning Galen Windsor. The Bureau justified closing the initial request without the following, quote, you have requested records on one or more third-party individuals. Please be advised that the FBI will neither confirm nor deny the existence of such records pursuant to FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, exemptions, blah, blah, blah. Based on this response, that's the end of the quote. Based on this response, it appears the agency erroneously assumed my request was for a living person, despite a link to his obituary and burial site being provided. Literally, that's what we read. To clarify my request, I am attaching a PDF copy of Mr. Windsor's death certificate. As seen in the death certificate, my FOIA request is for Galen Windsor, blah, 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 blah. If any potentially responsible, blah, blah, blah. I appreciate your anticipated cooperation in this. The response. The Office of Information Policy has received your FOIA appeal. Please see the attached acknowledgement letter. Another, that was on 6/23. On 6/27, the Office of Information Policy, you better go get those pizzas, has made its final determination on the FOI appeal number. A copy of the determination is enclosed along with any enclosures if applicable. Thank you. On 7/1/2024, there are FOIA files available for you to download. And then there are from Muck Rock staff. On 9/30/2024, to whom it may concern, I wanted to follow up on the Following Freedom of Information Act request copied below. Originally submitted on May 8th, 2024. Please let me know when I can expect to receive a response. You have assigned it. Reference number this. Thank you for your help. On 10/30/2024, a month later, I wanted to follow up on the following Freedom of Information Act. They said the exact same thing.
I don't even know. 12, 25.
No, it's been more than enough time.
12 minutes.
It's been more than enough time. It's good. I'll go take care of it. So this is a really interesting thing because this is still awaiting. Like, this is really cool. I didn't know this was an active thing right now. And I mean, if the last thing was on 10/30/2024, that was literally like 15 days ago. So really, really interesting. Anyway, thanks for being here. Always appreciate everybody for being here. Pedophiles, fucking kill yourself.